Lake. Sergeant Conrad Leong says there were 3 passengers on the UTA bus last night. During the drive, one of the passengers attacked another.
The suspect also got stabbed superficially, so both got stabbed. Unknown how the suspect got stabbed, if he stabbed himself or if the other individual had a weapon to protect himself. So
both the victim and the suspect went to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The suspect is now in custody. No one else was hurt. KSL's top national stories. President Trump will meet with Israel's prime minister today in Florida. The plan is to discuss the second phase of the U.S. brokered ceasefire deal in Gaza. Trump wants to speed up the process. The second phase includes rebuilding Gaza under international supervision and creating an international security force. Today's meeting comes as Iran's president says it's a full-scale war with the U.S.
Iran's president is saying not only that his country is at a full-scale war with the U.S., Israel, and Europe, but also claiming that the military is stronger than it was when the U.S. and Israel targeted Iran's nuclear sites over the summer. Now, you may remember back in June, President Trump ordered an attack on 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities using bunker buster bombs. He initially claimed their nuclear capabilities had been totally destroyed, but the government now says some of that enriched uranium wasn't eliminated, and it's unclear how far their program was actually set back.
ABC's Maggie Ruley reporting. Other national stories KSL is following this hour. Investigators are learning more about what led a man to allegedly plant pipe bombs in D.C. just hours before the January 6th Capitol riot. According to court filings, Brian Cole told investigators he was upset with both political parties. More from ABC's Olivia Rubin.
His idea came from his interest in history and a conflict in Ireland. And while Cole said he placed those bombs at night to actually prevent any deaths, according to the filing, prosecutors claiming otherwise, saying his actions, quote, risked the lives not only of innocent pedestrians and office workers, but also of law enforcement, first responders, and national political leaders.
Cole is expected in court tomorrow. Before you put your wood fire stove to use this week, listen to this warning from firefighters.
Cold weather is here, and Mountain Green Fire Chief Brian Brindell says the biggest thing you can do to prepare your wood-burning stove is have a chimney sweep come and at least check the flue every year. The second thing is choosing what to burn.
Please don't use any accelerants to start your fire. We've had bad experiences with people, just a little bit of gasoline or a little bit of kerosene. No, absolutely not.
He says it's best to burn a hardwood like cedar, oak, or redwood. Pine or leftover construction woods can leave behind sticky, flammable material that can build up over the years. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Home prices around the state are rising fast, but one builder in Cedar City has managed to keep their home costs below the median price.
Right now, the average median price over last month in Iron County was $430,000. That's my 2-story option. We're just below that. My 1-story option is essentially $40,000 less than that.
Director of Operations at Templeview Commons, Jared Granum, tells KSL TV they've been keeping their costs lower by keeping a small, talented crew. He says there's rapid growth in the city, with around 2,000 new people moving in each year. The governor says there's a long way for the state to go, but feels hopeful interest rates will continue to drop. First look traffic. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Things are looking pretty good out there, Heather. We do have a signal out. This is up in the Park City area. SR 224, Olympic Parkway, and New Park Boulevard. They do have police officers out there directing traffic. It is backing it up in the area. Michelle Rowe, KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
CVS Health supports people in the moments that matter, from picking up a prescription to connecting care. With nearly 5 million daily interactions and serving 185 million consumers and 1.5 million healthcare professionals, CVS Health holds a trusted place in healthcare. By simplifying care and improving health, we're helping people get the care they need. Learn more at cvshealth.com/Investor Day.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
All right, Utah, this is your shot. KSL and Ivory Homes are teaming up to send you to the big game in Santa Clara on February 8th. To qualify, just stop by any Ivory model home between now and January 31st. Walk through and ask about Ivory's super low loan rate discounts and free upgrade packages. Start now at ivoryhomes.com/super. That's ivoryhomes.com/super.
A judge has decided to release a transcript of a closed-door hearing in the case tied to the killing of Charlie Kirk. KSL News Time is 12:07. And we're going to go to KSL Sports now. We're hearing from Kyle Whittingham for the first time since it was announced he would be moving to coach the University of Michigan's head football team. He's excited.
What was appealing was the obvious. I mean, it's Michigan. I mean, that says it all. I mean, Michigan and all that entails, the tradition, the big house, it's one of the most storied programs in all of college football. So that was a no-brainer.
He also released an official statement on his time with the University of Utah, saying he's proud of what they've built together, and Utah will always hold a special place in his heart. The Cougars earned a hard-fought victory against Georgia Tech in Saturday's Pop-Tarts Bowl game, making it a historic season for the team.
BYU turned this season into something special this Saturday after hitting 12 wins in one season for the first time since 2001. QB Bear Bachmeier beamed with pride in his post-game interview, congratulating his teammates and celebrating the Cougars as a team.
We've been in this situation a multitude of times, but the trust and the camaraderie of all these guys, I love these guys. Man, it's just a special brotherhood. Coach Kalani's always harping on it, and we're brothers, and I'm so glad to send the seniors out with a bang.
The Cougars turned an 11-point trail at halftime into a 4-point lead by the game's end. Cameron Elliott, KSL News Radio.
It's time to find your lures and bundle up. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi reports reservoirs are finally freezing enough for ice fishing.
The unusually warm weather we've had this winter has left many popular ice fishing reservoirs with open water, but those are finally freezing over. The Division of Wildlife Resources has some precautions, namely, make sure that the ice is at least 4 inches thick before going out on it. Also, if you're in a group of people, spread out, and remember that the thickness of the ice may not be consistent across the entire lake.
Anglers are also reminded to have a fishing license and know the regulations where they're fishing. KSL News Time, 12:09. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Again, Heather, we do have some traffic signal problems up in Summit County. This is SR 224, which is Olympic Parkway, and New Park Boulevard. They are taking turns alternating the traffic through that area, and so you're going to see some delays as they're working on getting that taken care of. Now we have a crash that is just pulling away southbound I-15. It was on the left at 21st South. Other than that, traffic is looking good out there. I-15 from Ogden to Provo. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
So far this December, we haven't had many days that have felt like they should, but today will be one of those days. We'll have sunny skies with highs in the upper 30s, and then the rest of the 7-day forecast looks like it continues to warm right back up, so mid-40s by Wednesday, and then New Year's Day, a high of 47 with some showers. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Deb Mishuli.
And right now, it's a chilly 33 but sunny in Salt Lake City. Coming up on Midday with Maria Shilaos. As we're preparing for the upcoming tax season, we're going to get a few tips from ABC's Michelle Franzen. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
What if more reliable didn't mean more expensive? With Xfinity, you can get reliable, fiber-powered Wi-Fi for less. We're talking intelligent gig-speed Wi-Fi for $50 a month. This holiday season through January 4th, Xfinity is offering their best price on gig-speed Wi-Fi. Guaranteed for 5 years. No contracts, no strings attached. You can save $3,000 over Verizon and AT&T. Imagine getting super-fast Wi-Fi at the same price for 5 years. Get everything you need from Xfinity, their best Wi-Fi equipment, even unlimited data, all included, all at their best price. Get ready to be wowed by your Wi-Fi. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account taxes and fees. Extra Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary. Savings based on promo and post-promo prices for 1 gig Internet, 1 unlimited line, and Peacock Premium versus Verizon 1 gig Internet and AT&T 1000 Internet with 1 unlimited starter SL line.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-897-4400. That's 800-897-4400.
This new year, get started on your next success with University of Maryland Global Campus. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start January 7th. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online and hybrid classes while giving you a head start on 2026. Earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Don't say it. Don't say it's bigger than you. It's not. One person can make a difference, and Rescue Mission of Salt Lake can show you how. Winter is here, yet over 500 people every night remain unsheltered in Utah, sleeping in parks, vacant lots, or wherever they can lay their head and find rest. Is that bigger than you? Now when Rescue Mission of Salt Lake is here to help. The journey of healing often begins with simple things: a meal, a good night's sleep, a warm greeting. Sponsor a meal for just over $1 or a night of shelter for $7. As a privately funded faith-based organization, the Rescue Mission does not receive federal, state, or city funding. They're supported through your tax-deductible contributions. One person, that's right, you can make a difference and change a life today by saying you'll be part of the solution. RescueSaltLake.org is where you start. It's not bigger than you because you can make a difference. RescueSaltLake.org.
If you talk and they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
KSL News Time, 12:14. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
a Harriman man was arrested after police say he physically abused his child during an overnight stay at Primary Children's Hospital. I'm KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Second, 2 men are in custody after a shooting in South Jordan left 1 man dead over the weekend. Third, traffic and weather together.
We have a crash southbound I-215 on the East Belt. This is about 6200 south, not causing any delays off to the right. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
The cold is here. Today is feeling like it should, with afternoon highs in the upper 30s after starting off in the low to mid 20s. I'm meteorologist Deb Mishuli.
It's 33 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Now KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The fragile ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas has held up amid a few skirmishes. President Trump today welcoming Israel's prime minister to his Florida estate for key talks on phase 2 of the peace plan. President Trump was clear on what he says Hamas needs to do.
There has to be a disarming of Hamas.
Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu will also likely discuss Iran, with Iran's president making claims he believes Iran is at a full-scale war with the U.S., Israel, and Europe. President Trump also says he had a good follow-up talk with Russia's Vladimir Putin following his one-on-one meeting yesterday with Ukraine's President Zelensky at Mar-a-Lago, but says a peace agreement remains a thorny issue. It comes as Russia accuses Ukraine of attempting a drone attack on Putin's state residence.
The Russian state TASS news agency says Vladimir Putin told President Trump that a drone attack on his northern Russia residence would not go unanswered. The Russians say their defenses took out 91 long-range drones without any injuries or any damage being done on the ground. They blamed Ukraine, but Volodymyr Zelensky calls that yet another lie from Moscow. He says it could be a pretext to justify new strikes on Kyiv.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. Another round of storms targeting the Midwest, Great Lakes region, and New England. Snow, rain, and ice in the mix as the New Year's travel ramps up. ABC News meteorologist Kenton Jawecki.
That's where we could have ice accumulating to a half an inch or even up to 3/4 of an inch. That is encasing vehicles that you're not able to get in your door at that point, and it's making travel impossible. And also that's going to weigh down on trees with a lot of wind around it and also take up power lines too. So very serious there.
Airlines still trying to make up for the backlog of flights and cancellations and delays from the Christmas and weekend storms. Nearly 700 flights have been canceled so far today, according to FlightAware. You're listening to ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. There's still a few more days before 2026, but it's never too soon to start preparing for tax season. ABC's Michelle Franzen has a few end-of-year tax tips to make sure you don't see any unnecessary headaches next year.
Usually, the Internal Revenue Service reminds taxpayers around this time of year to start thinking about getting tax return documents together. IRS spokesperson Robin Capehart says that includes W-2s and statements.
Most income is taxable, including unemployment compensation, refund interest, and income from the gig economy and digital assets.
But this year, there's a big change that'll affect next year's returns. Capehart says as of September 2025, the IRS phased out paper tax refund checks.
The IRS will request banking information on all tax returns to issue refunds via direct deposit or electronic funds transfer. And there is help for those without access to bank accounts. So options such as prepaid debit cards, digital wallets, or limited exceptions will be available.
Why the change? Capehart says security, so checks can't get lost or stolen, and it'll speed up refunds. With a year-end tax tip, I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
KSL News Time, 12:18. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Michelle Rowe.
I-15 running at posted speeds. We do have the signal issue going on, though. This is up in Summit County, SR 224, which is Olympic Parkway and New Park Boulevard. So traffic is being directed by officers on foot. So use some caution going through that area. Also southbound on the I-215 East Belt, there's a crash off to the right about 6200 South. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
The KSL 7-day forecast, believe it or not, starts off normal. We'll have highs in the upper 30s with sunny skies. Unfortunately, the warming trend immediately ensues. We'll be in the low 40s on Tuesday, mid-40s Wednesday and New Year's Day. New Year's Day, we're tracking rain, maybe a little bit lingering into Friday morning, and then another chance of rain on Saturday with highs in the low 50s. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Dev Mishuli.
Right now, it's 33 degrees and not a cloud in the sky in Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you spend half your day walking or standing while working? If you have foot, knee, or back problems, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we help Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming on.
And how about working more comfortably, like Dennis?
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. I could do my job and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow is going to be. It's going to be positive.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Higher taxes, soaring inflation, record low interest rates, and the skyrocketing cost of healthcare. The list goes on. Retiring successfully today is a lot more complicated than ever before. Learn how you can tackle the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement today. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio. It's this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL, News Radio 1027.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-771-1300. That's 800-771-1300.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Rain on game day doesn't faze Dave. He's already got his poncho. Just needs to do something about those wipers. So Dave heads to AutoZone,
Welcome to AutoZone.
where a friendly AutoZoner helps him get premium quiet wipers and some hand warmers.
You're all set.
Now, if only his team can handle the elements as well as his new wipers. Get wipers, glass cleaner, and more with no hassles, just help at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Hi, it's Tori DeVito. In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. I grew up on tour with my parents. Kind of different, but we bonded over music just like other families do over sports, camping, or other interests. And we talked. Little everyday conversations from silly to serious that built a foundation over time. Honest conversations, like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic.
Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life. And I was so grateful that you and Mom had become these sober, stable people who were always there for me.
I wanted you to know from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs, whether it's music or anything else. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
A musician who canceled a Christmas Eve concert at the Kennedy Center after learning the board added President Trump's name to it is now being threatened with $1 million lawsuit. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has the story.
Jazz artist Chuck Redd told the AP he chose to cancel his Christmas Eve appearance after Donald Trump's name was added to the Kennedy Center's exterior. Center President Rick Grinnell responded in a letter accusing Redd of classic intolerance. In addition to claiming that attendance at Redd's performances had been lagging considerably behind the center's other holiday offerings, Grinnell said he'd seek $1 million in damages. A spokeswoman says a lawsuit will be filed after the holidays.
The president of the Kennedy Center wrote a letter criticizing Redd and calling the cancellation a political stunt. Watching Utah's money? A new survey released from the Motley Fool found that 93% of people with stocks in AI say they will continue to hold their stocks into 2026 despite the expensive and ever-rising prices. Stock prices from major tech companies such as Amazon, Apple, and Meta grew over 690% from 2015 to 2024. Streaming service Tubi is now reaching the ranks of Peacock and HBO Max thanks to its free subscription for viewers. As some streaming services crack down on sharing passwords and the cost of streaming has risen, people are turning to free services even if they have ads. Tubi reports that they have more than 100 million monthly viewers in close comparison to Disney Plus, who reported 131 million subscribers as of September. New York City is retiring their Metro card after it was first introduced in 1994 as a replacement for the subway token. December 31st marks the last day to buy a Metro card, and then they will completely transition to the Omni, a contactless payment where people can pay by tapping their credit card or phone. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 249 points, the S&P is down 31, and the NASDAQ is down 161. French actress and singer Brigitte Bardot has died at age 91. Bardot rocketed to international stardom in the 1956 movie And God Created Woman. She was one of the greatest stars of the 20th century before later becoming a strict animal rights activist. She later fell from public grace as she doubled down on fighting for animal rights and not so much on human rights, being convicted for inciting racial hatred multiple times.
Held over due to popular demand. This is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
My name is Tom.
My name is Cindy.
We give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
We know our time and money are going to the right places.
We don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
KSL News Time, 1228. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Michelle Rowe.
We have a disabled semi-tractor trailer southbound I-15 approaching SR 92 Temp Highway off to the right, not causing any delays. And again, continuing traffic signal problems. This is up in Summit County, Olympic Boulevard Parkway, and New Park Boulevard. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
From record warmth last week to finally feeling like it should, this Monday is seasonable. We have sunny skies throughout the entire day and the entire state with afternoon highs in the upper 30s. On Tuesday, we are going to get warmer again, so back into the low 40s with sunshine. Then Wednesday night into Thursday, we're tracking some rain that'll bring showers on New Year's Day with highs around 47. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Deb Mishuli.
Right now, 33 and sunny in Salt Lake City.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon, KSL News Time, 12:30. I'm Heather Peterson filling in for Maria Shilaos. KSL's top story this hour. Over the next few days, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will be flocking to Salt Lake City to pay their respects to President Jeffrey R. Holland. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
President Holland's funeral has been planned for this Wednesday, December 31st. It will start at 11 a.m. and go until noon. Former mission companion to President Holland, Elder Quentin L. Cook, will conduct the service, with music from the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square. The service will be open to the public age 8 and older. Doors will open at 9:30 a.m. The service will be streamed live, including here on KSL News Radio. President Holland died early Saturday morning at age 85. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
President Holland served as an apostle for 31 years, and Sarah Weaver with Deseret News told Inside Sources that he'll be remembered in part for his ability to reach people through his general conference talks.
He was a wordsmith. He had deep compassion. He tackled issues that were personal to people, like depression, like anxiety. He asked people to love and to serve, and and they related to his messages.
Weaver says that President Holland had a superpower for connecting with people and made friends across the globe. KSL's top national stories. President Trump said his 2-hour phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin today was positive. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has the latest.
The Russian state TASS news agency says Vladimir Putin told President Trump that a drone attack on his northern Russia residence would not go unanswered. The Russians say their defenses took out 91 long-range drones without any injuries or any damage being done on the ground. They blamed Ukraine, but Volodymyr Zelensky calls that yet another lie from Moscow. He says it could be a pretext to justify new strikes on Kyiv.
President Trump met with the president of Ukraine at Mar-a-Lago yesterday, after which Trump said a peace deal was closer than ever. Wintry weather is causing issues for those traveling in the upper Midwest. ABC's Sam Sweeney says hundreds of flights have been canceled so far.
Keep this in context. There are roughly 35 to 40,000 departures today, so most people will get to where they are going with no issue. But if you are flying through the big hubs in the Midwest, we're talking about Detroit, Minneapolis, even down to Atlanta, you could see some cancellations or delays.
High winds are expected today for portions of the South. If you're looking for something fun to do today during holiday break, join KSL TV and KSL News Radio for a special family day at Titanic, the exhibition. Experience the history, see the artifacts, and enjoy kid-friendly activities, and get 2% off the entry fee. A Utah man was arrested after police say video showed him hurting his child in a hospital.
The man, identified as Jesse Scott Rogers, took his child to Primary Children's for seizure monitoring. He is 4 years old and has autism. Video footage from the room shows him trying to strangle the boy and hurting him multiple times throughout their overnight stay. Hospital staff quickly called the police after seeing the footage, who then got a search warrant to legally watch it back. Rogers was then taken into police custody and booked into the Utah County Jail. If convicted, he could face felony charges. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
A former reality star for a show set in eastern Utah is now accused of murdering his cellmate just days before he was set to be released from jail. 41-year-old Chad Aaron Ollinger starred in Discovery's show Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch. Since 2024, he's had several run-ins with the law, including an incident where he fled from police in Texas. If convicted on these new murder charges, Ollinger could be sentenced to life in prison. Utah's longest-serving woman legislator is reflecting on her accomplishments after announcing she'll step down from her position of 26 years.
In her retirement announcement, Carol Spackman Moss wrote she was honored to serve House District 34 and strengthen public education for both teachers and students. I spoke with her to hear more about the highlights of her career. She credits her 33 years as an English teacher at Olympus High School as the most shaping for her time in public service.
I taught maybe 5,000 to 6,000 students in those years. And, I've seen them become leaders in their communities and just being great citizens.
In addition to teaching, she says she feels most proud of the Naloxone Bill and the Good Samaritan Law, both of which she passed in 2014. McKenna Rodriguez, KSL News Radio.
Gas prices continue to fall as oil prices stay low. ABC's Brian Clark has the numbers.
Gas prices fell in the U.S. for the 5th consecutive week. Gas Buddy says the national average for a gallon of regular is $2.75, 4 cents lower than a week ago. Overall, that price is 22.6 cents lower than this time last month, 22.4 cents lower than this time last year. Analysts believe the prices will bottom out at some point in the next 2 months.
Utah gas prices are currently under the national average, sitting at $2.63 a gallon. First Look Traffic, here's Michelle Rowe.
Still working on this disabled signal situation up in Summit County. This is SR 224, Olympic Parkway and New Park Boulevard. Officers are in the middle of the intersection, so you'll want to use some caution going through that area. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now, the company's changed. Or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So, what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan today. 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. See website for details.
Everybody loves the season of giving, but now the season of paying for it is upon us. That not-so-wonderful time of the year when millions of Americans open their credit card statements, stare in horror at the balance, and resolve then and there to find new ways to save money. If you're among those Americans, why not start by cutting your wireless bill in half right now with Pure Talk's Saver Plan? It's easy. You'll get unlimited talk, text, and 3 gigs of high-speed data on a super-fast, nationwide 5G network for just $20 a month. Just dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Ho, ho, ho! And if you're active or former military or a first responder, you'll save an additional 20% every single month. That's pound 250. Say Mike Rowe for the gift that keeps on saving from America's wireless company, Pure Talk.
President Jeffrey R. Holland's funeral will be held in Salt Lake City this Wednesday. KSL News Time, 12:37. On January 1st, Utah is implementing a new law that requires every person to present an acceptable form of ID when purchasing alcohol or entering a bar, regardless of their age appearance. Michelle Smith with the Department of Alcoholic Beverage Services says before, employees could use discretion based on age, so if the customer appeared to be over the age of 35, they didn't have to show ID.
If you are going anywhere where you think you might purchase alcohol, bring your ID with you. If you are 85 years old, bring your ID with you.
There's also a new category of interdicted individuals who cannot buy alcohol because they've been found guilty of an extreme DUI where their blood alcohol level is above 0.16. By law, they must receive an ID that says no alcohol sale. Health officials in Utah are concerned about the high number of measles cases in the state. More than 100 cases are reported in the southwest corner, and cases are spreading north. State epidemiologist Dr. Leisha Nolan says the holidays could pose obstacles to reporting.
So we are concerned that we might not hear of people ill with measles until quite late. They might actually wait a while and get sicker, which is concerning.
Dr. Nolan says measles is the most infectious disease, and people should not delay getting care if they feel sick. The number of cases will be updated on Tuesday. The flu season is in full swing and has already hit record numbers in the New York area. ABC's news medical contributor Dr. Darian Sutton says flu cases are surging in emergency rooms.
New York now at the highest ever level of the flu, ever recorded in a single week. 70,000 cases, that's a 38% increase compared to the week prior. Hospitalizations also up over 3,600 cases. That is a 63% increase.
Health experts say it's not too late to get your flu shot as it can offer some protection from the latest flu variant that's circulating. KSL News Time, 12:39. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Michelle Rowe.
I-15 continues to run at posted speeds. We do have a disabled semi-tractor trailer that's been there for a little bit. This is as you're making your way onto the freeway. This is at the 4500 South on-ramp as you're going to go southbound on I-15. That is off to the right. Still working on signal problems. This is up in Summit County at SR 224 Olympic Parkway, which is New Park Boulevard. So they do have officers in the center of that intersection directing traffic. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
This Monday will feel pretty similar to how things were on Sunday. If anything, will just be a touch warmer with highs in the mid to upper 30s. We'll have sunny skies today as well as tomorrow, but temperatures already back on the warming trend. Low 40s Tuesday, then mid 40s for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. New Year's Day, we're just tracking some rain. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Deb Mashuli.
Right now, it's 34 and mostly sunny in Salt Lake City. Coming up on Midday, a Utah judge is opening up previously sealed court documents in the case against Tyler Robinson, who's accused in the killing of Charlie Kirk. We'll hear more from the Utah Media Coalition who pushed for this decision. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
A 15-year-old girl who chewed through a rope to escape a serial killer.
I used my front teeth to saw on the rope in my mouth.
The killer prowled the Pacific Northwest in the early 70s. He's been convicted of murdering 2 young women, but suspected of many more.
Maybe there's another one in that area.
Follow and binge all episodes of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, available now wherever you listen.
The Salt Lake Chamber is Utah's voice for business. Okay, that sounds great, but what does it really mean? Well, as Utah's largest and longest-standing business association, they support and champion community prosperity throughout the state. And if you're in business, well, that's a very good thing for you. Be sure to listen to the Chamber's Speaking on Business, weekdays at 7:20, 11:55, and 5:20 p.m. on KSL News Radio.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Hi, Grandma. What's for dinner?
Hey, honey, I'm making stew tonight.
Ooh, can Nina come over?
I'm not sure about our new friend. I wonder if there's been any drinking going on. Alcohol at her age can lead to so many bad things. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma?
This is hard. She's so young, but I know I need to talk to her about it now before someone tries to give her alcohol. If anyone ever does offer you a drink, I want you to say no. I have too much respect for my family, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay.
Really?
I promise, Grandma. I love you too.
Okay, how about tasting this stew and telling me what you think?
Some children may try alcohol as young as 9 years old. It's not too early to talk about drinking. For tips on how to begin the conversation, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
KSL News Time, 1244. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
President Jeffrey R. Holland's funeral has been planned for 11 a.m. Wednesday, December 31st. The public is invited to attend. I'm KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis.
Second, a mother is in the intensive care unit after allegedly being stabbed by her son in their Bountiful home over the weekend. Third, traffic and weather together.
We have a disabled semi-tractor trailer southbound I-15 as you're approaching SR 92 Temp Highway off to the right. Michelle Rowan, the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunshine will control the skies for the next couple of days and temperatures gradually warm. I'm Deth Mashuli.
It's 34 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Now, our top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Florida, President Trump holding talks with Israel's prime minister on the next phase of the Gaza peace deal. The president making it clear he says Hamas needs to disarm fully. ABC's Selena Wang says talks will also expand to security in the Middle East region.
We're also expecting Iran's nuclear activities to be front and center in these discussions. This comes just shortly after Iran's president said the country is, quote, in a full-scale war with America, Israel, and Europe.
In New Jersey, the second pilot in yesterday's twin helicopter midair collision has died. That crash happened in Hamilton, southeast of Philadelphia. The NTSB and FAA are investigating the incident. Authorities identified the 2 pilots as Kenneth Kirsch and Michael Greenberg, who were friends. Flu cases are on the rise across the country. The CDC showing nearly 5 million flu cases so far this season. Cases and hospitalizations surging in the New York area. 14 states showing high levels of the virus. This is ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. A Utah judge has ruled the release of the transcript of a closed-door hearing in the case tied to the killing of Charlie Kirk. Joining me now live is media attorney Jeff Hunt, who's representing the Utah Media Coalition in this case. Jeff, thank you for joining us.
You bet.
So why was it important that the public have access to this closed-door hearing?
Well, there's a presumption of public access to all criminal proceedings, and of course the interest in this particular case is enormous, given the manner in which this happened and the identity of the victim. So the judge was very, very careful in understanding that the public interest is enormous and that you can only close court records and court proceedings for very fundamental, important interests. And in this case, he rejected the defense attempt to initially seal the entire transcript of this hearing and allowed only a handful of words to be redacted from it, less than 1 page out of 83 pages. So I think it reflects a really careful approach by this judge to allow the public to see and hear as much of this case as possible.
What other decisions impacting the media's access to this case are we still waiting on?
The judge ruled that any attempt to close the records or the proceedings in the case they have to give the media notice of that and an opportunity for us to appear and object. So that was a good development. He did not grant us intervener status, so formal party status, and that would impact our ability to appeal as a matter of right, but we would still have that right to appeal. So we think that was a very favorable ruling as well. And I think right now we're just waiting to see if the defense will file any future motions to either ban cameras or limit electronic media coverage of the proceedings, which they've suggested they might do.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about before Robinson's defense seeking to ban cameras from the courtroom. So can you just kind of elaborate on the latest on that?
Other than what we heard at the last open court hearing where they announced that they would be filing that motion, we haven't heard anything, whether they've reconsidered that in light of the judge's other rulings. So we will respond to that if they do file it.
And why is it so important for the media to have access in a case that's so high profile like this?
Well, we have a historical tradition in this country of conducting criminal trials in public view. What happens in the courtroom is a matter of interest to the public. Public court proceedings, criminal proceedings enhance the integrity of the proceedings. They allow the public to have confidence in the proceedings, whereas if you have closed-door proceedings, secret trials and proceedings, the public doesn't have confidence. And so that's the primary reason that you have public access, is so that the people, the participants, the judge, the prosecution, the defense attorneys, the witnesses, there's accountability, public accountability for what happens in the conduct of the trial. And when you have that kind of transparency, then the public has more confidence.
Oh, I think we lost you there, Jeff, but that was media attorney Jeff Hunt representing the Utah Media Coalition in the Charlie Kirk case. KSL News Time, 12:49. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Well, Heather, we've had ongoing signal troubles up in Summit County. This is SR 224, which is Olympic Parkway at New Park Boulevard. With the camera angle, I can't tell if the traffic signal is still out and they're still having troopers directing traffic, but the delays have eased in that area. Now, for drivers on southbound I-15, we've had a couple of disabled semi-tractor trailers, one at the on-ramp at 4500 South to go southbound, and then the second is as you're going southbound I-15 approaching SR 92 Timp Highway, that is off to the right shoulder. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
The KSL 7-day forecast starts off with seasonable temperatures, highs in the upper 30s this afternoon with sunny skies. We'll keep sunshine on Tuesday with highs in the low 40s. We continue to warm for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day with highs in the mid 40s. Rain showers will be rolling through the state on Thursday with a little bit lingering into Friday morning, and then there's another chance for valley rain and mountain snow on Saturday, highs in the low 50s. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Deb Micholi.
Right now it's 34 with some blue skies in Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful.
Rescue, redemption, recovery, re-entry. That's what happens at the Rescue Mission of Salt Lake City.
My name's India.
My name is Kelly.
So I was a heroin addict.
I was living in my car.
Then I decided it was time that I got help.
You don't know what to expect.
The Rescue Mission of Salt Lake does not accept any federal, state, or city funding. Everything is wholly supported through your generous tax-deductible contributions, along with donations of our friends and supporters.
You have a bed, you have a shower. We get everything that we need.
87% of every dollar goes to the Rescue Mission services. The other 13%, hard costs to run the mission building itself.
Like I have that hope now.
Thank goodness.
From the recovery program to a place to lay your head at night, and meals served every morning, afternoon, and evening all year long, as well as food boxes for families in need. The Rescue Mission needs our help.
Like a new life, that newfound hope.
That's what I'm grateful for.
Find out how at rescuesaltlake.org.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
The slopes above a famous Colorado ski town are quiet because of a ski patrol strike.
In the Colorado ski town of Telluride, the slopes are closed indefinitely. Last week, the 78-member Telluride Professional Ski Patrol Association voted to go on strike as they hold out for higher wages. They want a 3-year contract and a median wage increase of $8 an hour. The cost of living in Colorado ski towns has skyrocketed while wages have remained flat. The median cost of a home in Telluride is over $3.8 million. The Telluride Resort says it will be shut down until it comes up with a plan to safely open again. Alex Stone, EBC News.
Watching Utah's money, Starbucks is closing around 400 stores worldwide, 42 of which are in New York City. The company struggled to maintain its high profit and popularity amidst competition, rising costs, and people now working from home. CEO Brian Nicole is attempting to revitalize the company by renovating its existing stores with new chairs, couches, and tables. Dove released their new limited edition of Bridgerton-inspired products. The Netflix show is set to drop season 4 in early 2026, and Dove is preparing fans for its release, saying people can experience the royal treatment they deserve. The new soap scents include eucalyptus and hydrangea and even raspberry and rose as a nod to afternoon tea. Amazon is selling a tiny portable house with solar panels and a modern design for under $11,000. The house can fold out in hours and comes with a fully equipped and functional bathroom and kitchen. It has 2 bedrooms as well. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 249 points. The NASDAQ is down 161 and the S&P is down 31. And in movie news, Avatar and Marty Supreme made waves at the box office over the holiday weekend. James Cameron's Avatar: Fire and Ash made $88 million from Christmas Day until Sunday, and A24's newest release, Marty Supreme, made over $27 million over the same 4 days, a huge hit for the indie movie studio.
My friend Joey loves to use old familiar sayings.
You know what they say.
The problem is,
don't look at a gift horse, cause you can't make them drink.
He gets a lot of them mixed up.
People who live in glass houses,
here it comes,
shouldn't cry over spilt milk.
There are also a lot of sayings in the financial world, like, you'll pay lower taxes in retirement. But for many people, it's just not true. You may have done a great job saving in that 401k or IRA, but Uncle Sam is ready to grab a big portion of that money. The team at Galileo Wealth Management can help with strategies that you can start now to lower your tax bill in the future. More for you and less for Uncle Sam.
Or as they say, an apple a day is worth 2 in the bush.
Get the facts on your tax bill in retirement. Call Galileo Wealth today at 385-247-7000. It's 385-247-7000 or online at GalileoWealth.com.
And remember, a stitch in time keeps the doctor away. It does, you know.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for kids, teens, or young adults. It's just not.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals and volatile organic compounds into your body.
And nicotine, the same highly addictive substance found in regular cigarettes.
Nicotine can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s,
affecting learning, memory, attention, and impulse control, and priming the brain for other addictions.
Vaping products also come in kid-friendly flavors that can make them appealing to youth.
And many kids also use other drugs, like marijuana, in vaping devices.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping, because when you talk, they hear you.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I volunteer with United Way to help the homeless in my community learn computer skills and build a basic resume. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
KSL News Time, 12:59. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Good news for drivers up in Summit County. I was correct. They do have the traffic signal fixed at SR 224, Olympic Parkway and New Park Boulevard. Also, a couple of disabled vehicles southbound I-15, one in Murray, the other as you're approaching SR 92 Timp Highway. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Right now, it's 34 and sunny in Salt Lake City, 32 in Ogden, 33 in Provo. A little similar tomorrow, but we're going to spike up to about 43 degrees in the forecast.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
A push for greater transparency and openness in the case surrounding the accused killer of political activist Charlie Kirk. Today, a judge ruling that some material that was previously sealed should become public.
Openness and transparency are foundational to our judicial system and essential to maintaining public confidence. At the same time, the public's right to access is qualified, not absolute.
The time is 1 o'clock on Monday, December 29th. It's midday. I'm Heather Peterson, in for Maria Shilaos. Coming up, how do privacy, transparency, and the public's right to know mesh in this case? We'll get analysis. Also this hour,
for the first time was wearing maize and blue, which was pretty odd for, I think, everybody involved and maybe even him.
From the Utes to the Big Blue, what's the future of Utah football look like with Coach Witt moving to Michigan? And could more coaches from the state of Utah go with him? But first, our top stories. The winter chill has finally hit, and firefighters are reminding people to get their stoves checked before starting any fires. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
Cold weather is here, and Mountain Green Fire Chief Brian Brindell says the biggest thing you can do to prepare your wood-burning stove is have a chimney sweep come and at least check the flue every year. The second thing is choosing what to burn.
Please don't use any accelerants to start your fire. We have had bad experiences with people, just a little bit of gasoline or a little bit of kerosene. No, absolutely not.
He says it's best to burn a hardwood like cedar, oak, or redwood. Pine or leftover construction woods can leave behind sticky, flammable material that can build up over the years. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A promising presidential conversation in Florida this weekend between President Trump and Zelensky brings new hope that progress is being made on a possible peace deal with Russia.
Zelensky bringing with him a proposed 20-point peace plan, which includes stronger security guarantees and a major concession to the Russians, a demilitarized buffer zone in the contested Donbas region of Ukraine. Trump insisting Putin is ready for peace. Yet over the weekend, Russia launched one of its biggest attacks on Ukraine in months, killing 2 people, wounding dozens more, and leaving families without electricity, freezing in the cold.
ABC's Nicole D'Antonio reporting. Other national stories KSL is following. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate today to talk about the ceasefire agreement in Gaza that's holding on by a thread. Before the meeting, President Trump said he wanted to discuss the next phase of the agreement. ABC's Selena Wang reports.
We know that the president's priority is trying to keep Netanyahu in line and advance this very fragile Israel-Hamas ceasefire into the next phase. When the president was asked about phase 2, the president said that they will go into phase 2s very quickly, but there must be a disarming of Hamas, and that is going to be a key challenge. Part of phase 2 also includes this international stabilization force governance of Gaza with this Palestinian technocratic government. So it's going to be a challenge to get Netanyahu on board with all of those elements.
Iran and recent comments made by one of its leaders could also be on the agenda. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 249 points, the S&P is down 31, and the NASDAQ is down 161. Traffic and weather together, sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Heather, right now things are pretty quiet out there. I-15 running at posted speeds despite having a couple of disabled semi-tractor trailers. One at the on-ramp at 4500 south to go southbound. The other southbound I-15 also off to the right shoulder as you're approaching SR92 Temp Highway. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today we're looking at a high of 38 with clear sunny skies. Tomorrow more of the same as we climb to a high of 43. Then 47 Wednesday and Thursday when we could see a chance of rain for your New Year's Day. Right now it's 34 and mostly sunny in Salt Lake City at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Hi, I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, America's largest family law firm. During this time of year, difficult relationships sometimes become impossible. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. Take the first step. Visit CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. The majority of victims know their attacker. It could be your friend, your neighbor, or someone you met at a party. If you said no, it's rape, and it's a crime. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Call the National Sexual Assault Hotline today at 1-800-656-HOPE or visit RAIN.org. That's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson in for Maria Shilaos. A key ruling today in the case against the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk. A judge opening up previously sealed court documents against accused killer Tyler Robinson. The judge also laying out in detail how much the public will get to see and hear as this case moves forward. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera joins me live. And Eric, start with the big picture. What did the judge decide today?
Heather, at its core, this was about transparency. A Utah judge decided that most of a court hearing involving Tyler Robinson, which had been kept under seal, should now be made public. Robinson is accused in the killing of Charlie Kirk, and that earlier hearing focused on courtroom security and what information should stay private.
Why was that hearing sealed?
So both the defense and prosecutors argued that releasing certain details, especially around security, could pose safety concerns or impact Robinson's right to a fair trial. Media organizations, including KSL and the Deseret News, pushed back, saying the public has a right to understand what's happening in a case that's drawn national attention. So today, the judge walked through how he weighed those competing interests.
And where did he land on that balance?
So he said openness matters, but it does have limits. The judge ruled that only a very small portion of the transcript needs to stay redacted, mostly for security reasons. Everything else will be released so the public can see what was discussed, and he explained that decision directly from the bench.
Openness and transparency are foundational to our judicial system and essential to maintaining public confidence. At the same time, the public's right to access is qualified, not absolute, and may be limited when a legally sufficient justification exists. The court recognizes the substantial public interest in these proceedings and has approached its review with that interest firmly in mind. The carefully limited redactions ordered are narrowly tailored and designed to protect those interests while preserving the public's ability to understand the substance, context, and significance of the proceedings.
So how much is actually being hidden from the public here? Is it enough for folks to even really worry about?
Not much at all. So the judge says about 246 words, which is about 1 page out of an 80-page transcript, will be redacted, and then everything else will be released. He also noted that much of what's discussed is already referenced in charging documents or has been discussed publicly by law enforcement.
Okay, so when will people actually be able to see and hear this?
So the redacted transcript is expected to be filed by the end of today. The audio recording will take a bit longer because the court wants to be sure nothing protected is accidentally released. The judge says that should be ready in about 2 weeks. He also emphasized that hearing the audio matters, not just reading the transcript, because tone and context are important.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's next in this case?
So the next hearing is set for January 16th. That's when the case itself moves forward again, and thanks to today's ruling, it'll be happening with a lot more public visibility.
All right. Thanks, Eric. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera there. Let's go more in depth on the relationship between the court system and the media and why today's order matters for public transparency. Joining me now on Midday is KSL legal analyst and co-host of Inside Sources, Greg Skordas. Greg, thanks for spending a few minutes with me.
Oh, it's nice to be with you, Heather.
Okay, so talk to me about the importance of the judge ordering private meeting transcripts and the audio to be released. Why does this matter?
So what happened was this. There was some concern, and let me back up a little bit, although I think Eric did a very good job. There was some concern about whether or not Tyler Robinson could be able to appear in court without shackles, wearing street clothes, and in person. At some of his court appearances, he's just been in jail. The state raised some security concerns, and so the judge had a closed hearing to talk about those security concerns. And because they are security concerns, some of those are private. What the sheriff's office does in terms of public safety and transportation and whatnot should be kept private. The media, of course, said we have a right to know. The public has a right to know what's going on in these things. And the lawyers from both sides, the defense and the prosecution, both argued the same, which was, no, this jeopardizes his right to a fair trial. So the judge went through the entire hearing and redacted some portions that he felt were just so sensitive and so secretive that they shouldn't be disclosed to the public, but otherwise allowed like 90%, 95% of the hearing to be disclosed. So that's what's happening.
What are Utah's laws regarding media access in the courts?
You know, you kind of go back to the First Amendment. You know, our laws really allow such things as cameras in the courtroom. Courts are almost always presumed to be open to the public. Adult courts are, juvenile courts are confidential generally. But we like to have that. But sometimes when there's a public safety concern, or sometimes when there's information that shouldn't be out to the general public, like how he's going to be transported, where he'll be transported, especially a case for like this where Tyler Robinson's life may be in jeopardy. And I think the sheriff's office has every reason to think they don't want everybody to know when he's being transported and how that's going to happen. They just don't want that in this particular case. So, you know, the public has a right to know what's going on at trial, but that doesn't include public safety information. It doesn't include things that could jeopardize public safety for law enforcement and for sheriff's office and for other individuals who might be transporting him.
Okay. It feels like we're talking about this case in the media's access more than in other cases. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, that's a great question. And the reason why we're talking about this is because this case has a lot more media access than almost any other case we have right now in Utah. I mean, this case has gained not only a lot of attention here in the state, but nationally and internationally. And every time he has a court hearing, unlike 99% of our other court cases, everybody watches. It's live streamed. It's televised. And so the public wants to know. I mean, his hearing today was live streamed on several television stations. We don't have that happening in Utah, very rarely. So in the case like this, it's just getting this kind of attention because the case has so much national attention.
And do you think that the judge is going to continue to allow cameras in the courtroom?
Yeah, I think he will after today. I think he's going to allow Tyler to appear, and I don't think that there will be any other hearings like they had in October that were kept away from the public. I think that whatever secretive information there was about transporting and housing him has been dealt with, and the judge will probably allow pretty much open courtroom from now on.
Okay. And as a defense attorney, what's your thoughts on how this impacts Tyler Robinson's case?
Well, you're always concerned, and even as a prosecutor, and I was a prosecutor also, you're always concerned about making sure that an individual who's accused of a crime has the right to a fair trial. And that means that the jury, the people who ultimately hear the case and decide whether he's guilty or innocent, are not influenced by the media. You want a jury to be able to sit down and listen to the evidence and decide the case based on what they hear at court, not what they heard on TV. So as a defense attorney, you're always concerned that the jury will know more about the case than you want them to because they heard things or saw things on TV that may or may not be true. So you just want to make sure that the trial is preserved, that the information available to the jury is appropriate, that it's followed by the rules and not necessarily what people may have seen or believe they heard on television or in the media.
Okay. KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas, thank you so much for joining us.
You bet.
Stay with us. We'll be back with more on Midday in just 60 seconds.
Held over due to popular demand. This is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Did you feel that chill in the air today? There's probably a bit of a shock to the system following the above average temps that have started out this winter season. So if you're finally ready to turn on the heater or light a nice, warm, cozy fire in your wood stove or fireplace, you should really check your chimneys and flues before lighting up.
Have your chimney cleaned by a professional. We have had some experiences with people cleaning their own chimneys, and they have a tendency to mess it up a little bit. Sometimes the chimney isn't put together in the best way, or it's older. That's why you want a professional to do that. There are chimney sweeps all over that you can Google and find.
Brian Brendel is the fire chief for Mountain Green. He says you probably don't need a cleaning every year, but that you should get your chimneys and flues inspected every year. He tells KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis that in addition to getting your chimney cleaned, you have to make sure you're going to choose the right materials to burn.
If you're going to burn in the fireplace, please don't use any accelerants to start your fire. We have had bad experiences with people, just a little bit of gasoline or a little bit of kerosene. No, absolutely not. That's really no bueno. And of course, burn good wood. Don't burn construction scraps, stuff like that. Pine tends to burn not hot enough, and pine actually leaves the most creosote in your chimney. If you can burn a harder wood, it's much better. Oak, redwood, that stuff's much better to burn because it burns hotter and it won't cool off as it gets near the top of the chimney and deposit its creosote. Hopefully, most of the time, it'll just carry it right out.
Now that your chimney is cleared out and you have the right kind of wood to burn, is there anything else you should do to ensure tip-top performance and ultimate safety?
You might want to have what's known as a chimney flare on hand, and what that does is it's literally a flare, but it burns very smoky. And what happens is if you open your flue while the fire is going, it will pull that smoke that's coming off of the flare up into the chimney flue and actually extinguish it.
Chief Brendel also says that if you live in one of the more populated valleys in the state, you need to check your local air ordinances before sparking the flame and celebrating the winter cold with a nice warm fire. The weather is set to warm up over the next week here in Utah, but that's not the case for the rest of the country. More on the wild winter weather battering the Midwest and New England and how it could affect travel plans for you and your family. Coming up next. But first, it's KSL Traffic, sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Michelle?
I-15 still running at posted speeds. They still have this disabled semi-tractor trailer southbound I-15 as you're approaching SR-92 Temp Highway. That is from a vehicle fire. Other than that, though, you're seeing good speeds out there. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
For over 22 years, speaking on business on KSL News Radio has been a beloved tradition, celebrating our heroic business leaders and Utah consumers who have helped build one of the strongest state economies in the nation. Now, under the stewardship of the Salt Lake Chamber and hosted by Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller, the program continues to shine a spotlight on those who make Utah's business environment dynamic and thriving. With his expertise and passion, Derek brings the stories of our business community to life. As part of the Salt Lake Chamber, Speaking on Business is proud to continue its legacy of highlighting inspiring stories, trends, and special guests. Support Utah businesses now and be part of Utah's thriving economy. More information can be found at slchamber.com. That's slchamber.com.
Ebenezer Scrooge, you have yet a chance of escaping my fate.
Ah, humbug.
You still have time to get a Mountain America Rewards credit card and earn 3 times the points on every dollar spent, but only through the stroke of midnight on December 31st.
I suppose I can learn to enjoy the holidays with triple rewards.
Apply today and learn more at macu.com/triple.
Membership required based on eligibility. Loans on approved credit offer can change or be withdrawn at any time. Limited time offer. Business cards not eligible.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
This new year, get started on your next success with University of Maryland Global Campus. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start January 7th. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online and hybrid classes while giving you a head start on 2026. Earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson. We saw some of the coldest temperatures of the season so far this morning here in Utah, but things are trending upwards over the next few days. That's not necessarily the case across the country, as much of the Midwest and eastern parts of the nation continue to get battered with wild winter weather. With more on that, here's ABC News Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z.
Whiteouts on the roads in the northern plains and winter tornadoes in Illinois. Millions of Americans facing this powerful storm now moving into the Northeast. Up to a half foot of snow in Minnesota so far, already disrupting everything from traffic to emergency services.
You're really going to see a lot of this light snow blowing around and really creating some visibility problems.
In Minneapolis, crews fighting this house fire while also battling a blizzard. At least 2 people inside that home were hospitalized. In Iowa, vehicles struggling to stay on the road, visibility near zero, some stranded. Winds gusting up to 50 miles per hour near Clear Lake. At least 3 reported tornadoes in central Illinois. Part of the school's gymnasium roof peeled back, the mangled metal tossed across the parking lot. A tornado tearing through the outskirts of Decatur, scattering debris, destroying at least 8 homes. That powerful winter storm triggering travel trouble with thousands of flight delays and cancellations as millions head home from the holidays and get ready to ring in the new year.
The wind is going to be the big problem today. Houston, New Orleans in wind advisories all the way up through Louisville. But this morning we've already seen delays in Detroit at the airport because of wind. They're in a high wind warning. Cleveland has seen gusts close to 60. It will easily gust up to 65. You're going to see those blizzard warnings end from the upper peninsula of Michigan. As you go east, though, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, prepare yourself for a very windy night tonight. And as we go through tonight, you're also going to have ice in the Green and White Mountains up in parts of New York and Vermont. Talking about up to 3/4 of an inch of ice. That is going to cause major issues. So let's time it out. We're rainy, and you see the mist and the fog around the Northeast because it's falling on that fresh snow. Back behind it, it's snow, but it's more that lake effect banding. That rain kind of moves out, and you can even see Maine there, and then you're going to see that precipitation come in and be just enough that you can get that glaze of ice, very destructive, especially in northern New England.
If you're heading out of Utah over the next few days, perhaps you've got New Year's Eve plans back east, or maybe you have family traveling home after the holidays. Make sure you check your status of your flights before heading to the airport. The battle over the future of redistricting in Utah is now posed to head back to the state Supreme Court, potentially bringing to an end more than 7 years of confusion and back and forth lawsuits following the passage of Proposition 4 in 2018. The maps redrawn, we're digging into the new developments here on Midday. On Friday, District Judge Diana Gibson filed her final ruling, opening up the path for the legislature to file a direct appeal to the Utah Supreme Court. As a reminder, Judge Gibson ruled earlier this year that the legislature's repeal of Prop 4, which created an independent redistricting commission, was unlawful. As a result, she threw out the map previously created by state lawmakers and chose a new map submitted by one of the plaintiffs in the lawsuit. But as the legislature moves ahead with appeals, there's still some confusion over the process. Among those points has been the question, why make the legislature wait until the final judgment before appealing? Inside sources spoke to State Senator Todd Weiler about this earlier today.
So there's an option called an interlocutory appeal that she's referring to, and that is an appeal while the case is still pending, while the case is unresolved, while there is no final judgment. And she's right, but the standards for an interlocutory appeal is discretionary. So the Supreme Court could say, well, let's wait till the case is final, whereas an appeal of the final judgment is mandatory. And so the Supreme Court could rule against the legislature or rule against the judge, but it's a mandatory. They'd have to make a ruling if there's an appeal of the final judgment. And for various reasons, I think the legislative attorneys had decided, to seek an appeal, not an interlocutory appeal. And I'll tell you, as a practicing civil litigator myself, interlocutory appeals are rare. And so she's kind of criticizing the legislature for not taking the rare move and for waiting and taking the more, I think, probably over 80%, I'm guessing, of appeals would be final judgment appeals and not interlocutory appeals. So I think I think her observations are correct, but I think the criticism, to the extent there is criticism, is unusual.
KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas agreed with Senator Weiler, saying the state Supreme Court seems to have a distaste for interlocutory appeals, but he pushed back a bit, saying it seems Judge Gibson believed a direct appeal was appropriate earlier on. Senator Weiler says he sees it differently.
Because there was an injunction, and because there was an injunction of a legislative act, a statewide legislative act, I think the legislature has given the Supreme Court
authority to hear those directly. And that's a new law. I don't think it's been tested yet. And so that is a little bit of a gray area in between the traditional interlocutory and final judgment appeal. And let me just say one thing. A lot of people have forgotten this point, and it's this. This case already went to the Supreme Court once. This very case went to the Supreme Court once, and they overruled partially Judge Gibson. And I think she's tried really, really hard. I think that's, in my mind, one of the reasons for the delays is she's trying really, really hard not to get overturned on this case again by the same Supreme Court. Well, the same Supreme Court body that the judges are changing because we just had one leave.
Senator Weiler says the appeal from the legislature to the state Supreme Court should go out sometime this week. Measles cases continue to rise throughout Utah. At last check, Utah's Department of Health and Human Services reported 142 cases throughout the state. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi spoke about it with state epidemiologist Dr. Leisha Nolan.
Unfortunately, we are seeing more people diagnosed with measles. Over the past 3 weeks, we've had 34 people diagnosed with measles in Utah. That's the most we've had in 3 weeks during this whole outbreak. It is certainly very concerning to us as we start to see more and more people diagnosed, and actually more and more people diagnosed in different parts of the state.
Southwest Utah has reported more than 100 of those cases, and it's where we first started seeing infections. But now health officials are seeing more and more cases along the Wasatch Front and the Wasatch Back as well. And Dr. Nolan says that number could be higher than we know, though, as the holidays impact those diagnoses.
We do know that usually people tend to delay care over holidays. I can say that as a pediatrician, I saw people delay care often because it was a holiday and really bringing their kids right after things got back to normal. And so we do suspect there's going to be a number of people who don't seek care for these few days while it is the holiday. We also know that a lot of clinics are closed, so that means some people will have a harder time getting into care right now, and possibly some of next week too during the New Year holiday. So we are concerned that we might not hear of people ill with measles until quite late. They might actually wait a while and get sicker, which is concerning. So we are worried what we might see in the next few weeks in terms of how many people get measles and how severe their measles is.
People usually start to show flu-like symptoms before the signature rash shows up. Dr. Nolan says if you're concerned you might have it, be sure to call your doctor or clinic and talk to them about it ahead of time.
We are trying to remind Utahns if they are sick with something that seems like measles or they know they were exposed to measles and are now sick, that we really encourage them to call ahead to their clinic to let them know that they might have measles. That way the clinic, the doctor, the nurses can make sure to bring you in a way that doesn't expose other people. One of the things we're most worried about is having babies exposed in clinics, and having somebody come in with measles can expose everybody in that waiting room. So we ask Utahns if they think they might have measles, if they were exposed to measles, to call ahead, let their clinic know, and they can help them so that they don't expose other people.
That was Dr. Leisha Nolan, state epidemiologist. We're expecting an updated case count tomorrow, but again, as of last week, 142 cases of measles here in Utah. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Heather Peterson, in for Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we're watching this hour. Coach Witt is leaving the Utes for Michigan's Big Blue. We've got analysis on what the move means for Utah football. Blood banks seeing fewer donations this holiday season. And KSL traffic. Michelle?
I-15 still running smoothly at KSL travel time from Draper to downtown, 16 minutes.
Today we're looking at a high of 38 with clear sunny skies. Tomorrow more the same as we climb to a high of 43, then 47 Wednesday and Thursday when we could see a chance of rain for your New Year's Day. KSL top local stories in 1 minute, but right now
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Florida, talks underway between President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on the next phase of the Gaza peace plan. President Trump says that includes Hamas disarming. It follows the president's meeting yesterday with Ukraine's President Zelensky on a ceasefire deal with Russia. Today, Russia accusing Ukraine of trying to carry out a drone strike on Vladimir Putin's residence, something Zelensky denies. ABC News contributor and former Defense Department official Mick Mulroy on the timing.
It looks like an attempt to do so by fabricating an attack on President Putin's residence. There is, as the Russians said, it wasn't actually struck. They're just claiming they shot down all these drones. So there's no evidence to that. I'd also like to point out that the leader of an army is a valid military target.
Flu season surging in the U.S., the CDC showing 4.6 million cases so far, with New York leading with illnesses and hospitalizations. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story, Utah is implementing stricter alcohol ID laws starting January 1st. KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez has more.
The law requires that every person purchasing alcohol, regardless of their age, appearance, must show an acceptable form of ID. Before, employees at restaurants, bars, or any establishment that sells alcohol were allowed to use discretion based on age, but now they're cracking down. Michelle Schmidt with the Department of Alcoholic Beverage Services says this is the key difference in the new law.
If the customer appeared to be over the age of 35, they were not required to check everyone's IDs.
And employees must do a physical check on IDs to look for language that says no alcohol sale. People who have this on their ID are interdicted by court order, meaning they cannot purchase alcohol because they've been found guilty of an extreme DUI where their blood alcohol level was above a .16. McKenna Rodriguez, KSL News Radio.
Other local stories KSL's following. A Harriman man could be facing serious charges after a nurse at Primary Children's Hospital noticed some concerning behavior. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Police documents say Jesse Scott Rogers took his 4-year-old with autism to the hospital for seizure monitoring. But during his stay, video footage shows him strangling his son and trying to injure him in other ways. Police say he can also be heard verbally berating the boy.
Hospital staff immediately called the police after seeing the footage. Rogers could face felony charges. Representative Carol Spackman Moss, the longest-serving woman in the Utah legislature, is reflecting on her years on Utah's Capitol Hill after announcing her retirement. Moss served for 26 years and was an English teacher at Olympus High School for 33 years. Moss passed the naloxone bill and the Good Samaritan law in 2014.
The two that I'm most proud of both have to do with saving lives. And, there's nothing more rewarding than knowing that you can do that.
Moss credits her time as a teacher as the most shaping time for her in her public service. She says she's honored to have served House District 34 and strengthened public education for both teachers and students. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 249 points, the S&P is down 31, and the NASDAQ is down 161. Traffic and weather together, sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Michelle Rowe.
We have a fresh crash. This is northbound I-15 on I-15 split to go onto 90th South is what I'm trying to say. That is off to the right shoulder, but one of the vehicles is facing the wrong way, so you'll want to use some caution in that area. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
38 degrees for the high today and sunny skies, 43 tomorrow. Wednesday and Thursday, we're looking at a high of 47, and Thursday, 47 again. We're looking to see some rain, though, as we start our 2026. Right now, it's 34 and sunny in Salt Lake City from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
CVS Health supports people in the moments that matter, from picking up a prescription to connecting care. With nearly 5 million daily interactions and serving 185 million consumers and 1.5 million healthcare professionals, CVS Health holds a trusted place in healthcare. By simplifying care and improving health, we're helping people get the care they need. Learn more at cvshealth.com/investorday. This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
All in together now, we can make it better. Can we do it? We rope it up. Cause we know how to jump.
Moving and eating better every day can help make you and your kids healthier. Search We Can online to find out more. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson. Maria Shilaos has the day off. Former Utes football coach Kyle Whittingham is officially a Wolverine. He started sporting the University of Michigan's colors over the weekend, and rumor has it he might be bringing some of Utah's coaches with him. I spoke with KSL Sports anchor Jeremiah Jensen to get the latest on the shuffle.
Kyle Whittingham was introduced as Michigan's head coach on Sunday, and for the first time was wearing maize and blue, which was pretty odd for, I think, everybody involved and maybe even him. But the reality sunk in that this is real and that Kyle Whittingham is now the head coach at Michigan after 21 years at Utah, and that's going to take a lot of getting used to. Now the impact and the story becomes which assistant coaches is he going to hire and put on his staff. And Kyle Whittingham has made no secret. He likes to hire people he knows and trusts. And where are all the assistant coaches he knows and trusts? Well, a lot of them are right here in Utah, both at the University of Utah and at BYU. Nothing official yet, but there are rumors that he hopes to bring Jason Beck along with him, who's the offensive coordinator at Utah, who turned that offense into one of the top offenses in the country, and in fact, number one in the country in rushing. And so I think that's something that's a possibility, and waiting for official word on that. And this could also impact BYU because it's believed that Jay Hill is his choice to be the new defensive coordinator at Michigan. Now, nothing official. Don't know if these jobs have been extended or accepted as of right now. It's a fluid situation, but that's what we're hearing. And so, and I think that it's not just Jason Beck at Utah that could possibly go. I think that there's other assistants that's pretty obvious from Utah that could be headed to Ann Arbor as well. So this could impact not only the new head coach, with Kyle Whittingham, this could impact the University of Utah football program, because a lot of assistant coaches could be moving on and some players could be going with them. We don't know. We don't know of anybody in the transfer portal right now, but that's how that could impact Utah. And it's I don't think a lot of BYU fans expected this news or this move to impact their favorite team, but this absolutely looks like it's going to. So nothing official yet, but this could cause a lot of shuffling. And whenever a new head coach is hired around the country, there's a domino effect, and that domino effect can be seen right here in Utah.
What's the sentiment behind all these adjustments? I mean, is this kind of seen as a betrayal? Like, how are people feeling?
I think there's some Utah fans that aren't very happy about this and do feel betrayed. I've seen some reactions there. So, yeah, I think that anytime a coach leaves that's been there a long time and he takes some of those pieces with him, fans are going to get upset about it because they care about their team and they want their team to be good. Truth of the matter is, this happens every year in college football. Coaches move on. Coaches get jobs and they have to hire assistant coaches. And so, coordinators and position coaches move around quite a bit. And so this shuffling is actually pretty normal. It's just, you don't want shuffling if you're a fan when your team's good. and Utah's really good. They just came off a 10-2 season. They were building something that looked like it was going to be promising for the future. And now you're wondering, okay, who's our new offensive coordinator? What position coaches are going? What players are going to go? So if you're a fan, you're probably not very happy with Kyle Whittingham right now if he's pulling a lot of those things away from the program and bringing them to Ann Arbor. It's hard to be too bitter, though, after someone spent 21 years building this Utah program into a perennial top 25 team. So I think the reaction is mixed, and you're naturally going to have people who feel betrayed, who feel like he's a traitor. But I think the level-headed fan is going to realize that, Kyle Whittingham was the coach for 21 years, and maybe it's great that Morgan Scalley now gets a chance to run that program.
That was KSL Sports anchor Jeremiah Jensen with the latest on Kyle Whittingham's transition to head coach at the University of Michigan. Make sure that you join KSL News Radio tomorrow as we spend an hour looking back at the 21 years Coach Witt spent leading the Utes football team to an era of victory. Plus, what's next for the Utes with the departure of Coach Witt? All that and more, a tribute to Coach Witt, coming up tomorrow at 6 p.m. on Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Or are they promising you up to 10% growth per year, all for your retirement income? If not, then you need to come to Trajan Wealth. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you have a plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't keep working when you're supposed to be retired, and don't let any financial advisor tell you it's too good to be true. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Annuities, non-advisory products. DBA Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions. Additional disclosures at trajanwealth.com.
The American Red Cross is putting out the call for help. They say the end of the year is a time they desperately need blood donations. I spoke about it with Benjamin Donner, Executive Director of the American Red Cross's Central and Southern Utah chapter.
This time of year is always a challenging time for blood collection, as many schools are closed. A lot of people are taking time off work to be with family and other activities. And oftentimes blood donations kind of fall down that priority list. And so it becomes even more challenging with less opportunities of being in businesses and that to really get individuals to think about those, that this is all they are hoping for as a life-saving measure in the hospital at the moment.
Okay, so even though people might be in the holiday spirit, they're just a little busy. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. We do run into challenges this time of year with weather, et cetera. Fortunately, here in Utah, that hasn't been as much of the case, or unfortunately, however we want to look at that. But oftentimes when there's snow, other challenges this time of year, it can lead to blood drive disruptions where we may not be able to hold it, or individuals just may not want to go out into the weather to make that happen. And so it's just, there's a lot going on this time of year, yet the need actually increases this time of year with potential auto accidents, things like that. Individuals are spending more time doing various activities, and so that need either remains constant or even increases this time of year, but the ability or amount of individuals that come to do it sometimes decline, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Any other last-minute thoughts you want to share with us, or how can people get involved, anything like that?
Yeah, there's a special for those that live in the kind of the south end of the valley, in Salt Lake Valley. Wendy's has really stepped up and has created they call it the Wendy's Combo for a Cause blood drives. So there are drives happening tomorrow and Wednesday in West Jordan and South Jordan that anybody that signs up for those will actually receive a meal card from Wendy's, a T-shirt from the American Red Cross, and just trying to make it an extra special incentive to donate. Anybody that wants to participate in those, we always recommend signing up for an appointment on the Red Cross Blood app or redcrossblood.org. Both of those, if you type in the keyword Wendy's, it'll show those drives. And if you sign up on those are little extra incentives. Everybody will receive a really cool Red Cross T-shirt. It's a long sleeve T-shirt here in the wintertime for any blood drives over the next couple of weeks. So it's definitely definitely a good time to make that happen. The final thought is coming from someone who needed blood to stay alive, to make it to the very next day in that emergency. I, on behalf of the American Red Cross, am truly grateful for every single donor that makes this happen. There's no other way to synthesize this blood. It's something that the only way that these lives can be saved is that generosity and humanity of an individual that says, you know what, I'm going to come do something good today.
That was Benjamin Donner from the American Red Cross. With a new year approaching, several new laws are on deck to go into effect, including one dealing with alcohol purchases and identification. We'll break it all down for you after the break. But first, it's KSL Traffic, sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Michelle?
We have some unusual slowdowns, Heather. This is northbound Bangerter Highway approaching 4100 south. It appears that most of the traffic is having to squeeze over to the left or possibly over to the extreme right as well. And then we still have this crash northbound I-15 at 90th south off to the right. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Thanks, Michelle. And as you and the kids finish up the holiday break, we have a great opportunity for you to not only have some fun, but also learn some history. Join KSL TV and KSL News Radio for a special family day at Titanic, the exhibition. Experience the history, see the artifacts, and enjoy kid-friendly activities at the special event going on right now at the shops at Southtown and Sandy. Today only, you can save 25% on tickets with code KSL25. Plus, you can commemorate the visit with a special KSL Family Day photo opportunity. Visit KSLTV.com or the TitanicExhibition.com to book tickets and use promo code KSL25 to save 25% at checkout.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
Don't say it. Don't say it's bigger than you. It's not. One person can make a difference, and Rescue Mission of Salt Lake can show you how. Winter is here, yet over 500 people every night remain unsheltered in Utah, sleeping in parks, vacant lots, or wherever they can lay their head and find rest. Is that bigger than you? Now when Rescue Mission of Salt Lake is here to help. The journey of healing often begins with simple things: a meal, a good night's sleep, a warm greeting. Sponsor a meal for just over $1 or a night of shelter for $7. As a privately funded faith-based organization, the Rescue Mission does not receive federal, state, or city funding. They're supported through your tax-deductible contributions. One person, that's right, you can make a difference and change a life today by saying you'll be part of the solution. RescueSaltLake.org is where you start. It's not bigger than you because you can make a difference. RescueSaltLake.org.
It's the dawning of a brand new year, and NPS is here to make sure that new year is wonderful by helping you, all of our families, buy at great, great prices. You know, each and everything in the store, any given day, is 20 to 70% off. And then they have additional sales. They change all the time. New things are coming into each of the stores, and you can save even more at NPS. And of course, if you're looking to eat a little healthier this year, NPS has the great produce. They have things that you are looking for to make sure your family eats well and eats healthy. And of course, there are many things for your home as well at greatly reduced prices. NPS, it is the nice place to shop and the nice place to save. Each of their locations, 2 in Salt Lake City on Empire, 1 in Orem, and 1 in Layton. NPS for the brand new year.
Guns, Rocky Mountain Gun Shows. Don't miss the Rocky Mountain Gun Show, Saturday and Sunday, January 3rd and 4th at Western Sports Park in Farmington. Stock up on wholesale ammo with no limit on quantity. Get 500 rounds of 9mm ammo for just $85. Shop our massive selection of firearms, mags, knives, and outdoor equipment. It's the Rocky Mountain Gun Show, so you know it'll be good. Rocky Mountain Gun Shows.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for never giving up and always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for letting me know what you expect, so I can try to meet your expectations.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
This is Midday. I'm Heather Peterson. New stricter alcohol laws are going into effect in just a few days on January 1st. One law banning alcohol sales to some Utahns by putting an alert on their license. Another law requiring every person who buys alcohol, regardless of how old they look, they must show an ID, an acceptable form of identification. Before the law, any place in the state that sold alcohol could use discretion based on age appearance, but beginning this Thursday, no more.
Starting January 1st in 2026, a new law becomes effective in Utah in which everyone, no matter your age, appearance, who is purchasing alcohol in the state, they must present an acceptable form of ID. So anyone who is working at an establishment that sells alcohol, those employees, those operators will need to ask for that form of ID from anyone regardless of age, appearance. So we're talking not just restaurants and bars, but also at the grocery store and at the convenience stores.
That's Michelle Schmidt with Utah DABS. She tells KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez that the department has been sending out notifications to alcohol sellers ahead of time, but they haven't received a lot of recent feedback for or against the plan. Her advice for people who are heading out to drink or buy alcohol at the store? Be prepared and be aware, especially with another major change to the ID laws dealing with alcohol.
If you are going anywhere where you think you might purchase alcohol, bring your ID with you. If you are 85 years old, bring your ID with you. And if you are somebody who is selling alcohol, make sure that you know what this new regulation is so that you can be in accordance with the law. Just check those IDs. I think another key part of this is that those who are responsible for checking IDs need to do a physical check on the ID itself to look for language that says no alcohol sale above the image on the ID. And that is because there was a new category of individuals who will not be allowed to purchase alcohol. Those are referred to as interdicted individuals. Those people become interdicted only by court order. A judge in a court of law might deem an individual to be interdicted, meaning that they have to then go get a new ID that says no alcohol sale on it. So those who are working in restaurants, who are working in bars, who are working anywhere where you're selling alcohol, do that visual check on the ID. Look for that bright red lettering above the image that says no alcohol sale. It is not a retroactive action. So beginning in January, there will be very, very few, if any, of those no alcohol sale IDs out in the market in Utah. But you know, it will gather over time as judges make that determination.
The new law goes into effect on January 1st. State-run liquor stores will be closed on New Year's Day, but they'll start checking IDs for everyone beginning on the 2nd. President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are currently holding a joint press conference. Let's listen in to see what they have to say.
Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be in charge of that from our side. But if they don't disarm, as they agreed to do, they agreed to it, and then they'll be held to pay for them. And we don't want that. We're not looking for that. But they have to disarm within a fairly short period of time.
Is Israel withdrawing its forces?
Well, that's a separate subject. We'll talk about that.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. President, did you have a message for the Prime Minister about the West Bank? And are you at all concerned that Israeli settler violence, could be undermining the peace plan that you
Well,
put in
we
place?
have had a big discussion for a long time on the West Bank, and I wouldn't say we agree on the West Bank 100%, but we will come to a conclusion on the West Bank.
If I could ask, what is the disagreement?
Well, I don't want to do that. It'll be announced at an appropriate time. But he will do the right thing. I know that. I know him very well. He will do the right thing. Yes.
There is a growing fear of a confrontation between Israel and Turkey. How are you going to ease this tension given the fact that President Erdogan calls Mr. Netanyahu Hitler and compares Israel to the Nazis?
Well, I know President Erdogan very well. And as you all know, he's a very good friend of mine. And I believe that, and I do respect him, and Bibi respects him. And they're not going to have a problem. They're not going to have a problem. I know him very well. And you've seen me do things with President Erdogan and Turkey that nobody else could have done. We're not going to have a problem. He's done a fantastic job. I'm with him all the way. I'm with Bibi all the way. Nothing's going to happen. Yes.
Mr. President, are you concerned that Israel is not moving quickly enough to phase 2 of the peace plan?
Well, I'm not concerned about anything that Israel's doing. I'm concerned about what other people are doing or maybe aren't doing. But I'm not concerned. They've lived up to the plan. They're strong. They're solid. And sometimes they don't understand when somebody violates something that you want to give them a second chance. Well, we'll give them a couple of second chances. But no, Israel's lived up to the plan 100%. Don't forget, we made the plan possible by taking out Iran. And speaking of Iran, I hope they're not trying to build up again, because if they are, we're going to have no choice but very quickly to eradicate that buildup. So I hope Iran is not trying to build up, as I've been reading that they're building up weapons and other things. And if they are, they're not using the sites that we obliterated, but they're using possibly different sites. We know exactly where they're going, what they're doing, and I hope they're not doing it because we don't want to waste the fuel on a B-2. It's a 37-hour trip both ways. I don't want to waste a lot of fuel. Okay?
Mr. President Trump, after your last remarks regarding the pardon request of Prime Minister Netanyahu, Herzog office told us that you have not talked after the official request of Prime Minister Netanyahu pardon. Can you clarify to us, did you talk about it?
Which request are you talking about?
With the President Herzog, the Israeli President Herzog. Did you talk with him directly?
President Erdogan?
No, Herzog. The Israeli President
so you're talking
Herzog.
about pardon?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you got to say that. No, I think he's going to be in great shape. He's a wartime prime minister at the highest level. He's achieved tremendous success. And I'll say it, if you had 8 out of 10 prime ministers in his position right now, or before right now, maybe, you wouldn't have Israel any longer. Israel would not exist. I'd say two of them would, and 8 of them wouldn't. Those are not good odds. You needed a very special man to really carry through and really help Israel through this horrible jam. These are major factions, and it started with our negotiation with...
You've been listening to President Trump addressing reporters after meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, saying that Hamas must disarm to move quickly into the next phase of the Gaza ceasefire plan.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Funeral preparations now underway for President Jeffrey R. Holland of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Thousands sharing messages of gratitude for the words shared by President Holland during his ministry.
You keep walking. You keep trying. There is help and happiness ahead. A lot of it.
The time is 2 o'clock on December 29th. It's midday. I'm Heather Peterson, in for Maria Shilaos. Coming up, remembering President Jeffrey R. Holland, we have a special look back at his life and the legacy of faith that he leaves behind. Also this hour,
you're probably going to find out this is not going to be good for our wallet in 2026.
as you look to the new year, what kinds of things should you do to ensure a financially strong 2026? But first, our top stories. The cold weather is here and people are ready to use their wood-burning stoves again. Firefighters say preparation is important. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
Mountain Green Fire Chief Brian Brindell says anything that burns wood, a fireplace or stove, the chimney flue needs to be checked at least once a year and cleaned every other year. Burning wood, especially softwoods like pine, can leave soot buildup in the chimney that can lead to a fire. Brindell says use hardwoods instead and have a professional chimney sweep inspect the flue.
Brindell says gas and propane stoves don't leave behind as much soot, but also need to be checked around every 5 years or so. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump meeting with Israeli Prime Minister today in Florida. They discussed the second phase of the U.S. brokered ceasefire deal in Gaza. Trump wants to speed up the process. The second phase includes rebuilding Gaza under international supervision and creating an international security force. Today's meeting comes as Iran's president says it's a full-scale war with the U.S.
Iran's president is saying not only that his country is at a full-scale war with the U.S., Israel, and Europe, but also claiming that the military is stronger than it was when the U.S. and Israel targeted Iran's nuclear sites over the summer. Now, you may remember back in June, President Trump ordered an attack on 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities using bunker buster bombs. He initially claimed their nuclear capabilities had been totally destroyed, but the government now says some of that enriched uranium wasn't eliminated, and it's unclear how far their program was actually set back.
ABC's Maggie Ruley there. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 249 points, the S&P down 24, and the NASDAQ down 118. Traffic and weather together, sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Michelle Rowe.
It looks like we have police activity, which is the cause for these big delays northbound on Bangerter Highway as you're approaching 4100 South. So you might want to avoid that area. It's apparently affecting traffic in all directions right there. I-15 still working on this crash. This is on the right shoulder at 90th South. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
38 degrees for the high today and sunny skies. 43 tomorrow, Wednesday 47, and Thursday 47 again, but we're likely to see rain to start our 2026. Right now it's 35 degrees and sunny from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
In today's fast-moving job market, staying ahead means keeping your skills sharp. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we help keep your capabilities cutting edge with our skills-based education programs designed to move your career forward. Explore more than 135 degrees and certificates in business, cybersecurity, and more. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start January 7th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Charlie's battery is struggling to start. Not ideal before the tailgate, so he goes to AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone,
where a friendly AutoZoner tests his battery for free. Looks like he needs a new one, so he gets a Duralast battery.
have fun and stay warm.
And he makes it to the tailgate early enough to get his favorite spot. Free battery testing and charging. No hassles, just help.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Utah is one of the best places to live, work, and raise a family. But for many Utahns, the dream of owning a home is slipping away. Home prices have risen faster than incomes, and families are spending nearly 2/3 of what they earn just to keep a roof overhead. From young graduates to grandparents, everyone is feeling the squeeze. Utah needs more homes, the right kinds of homes, so families can stay close and our communities can thrive. That's why Utah Workforce Housing Advocacy created Demand More Supply, a statewide effort helping Utahns understand the issue and take action in their own communities. Because when we work together, we can make housing affordable again for today's families and for future generations. Let's make the dream of owning a home a reality again. Learn more and add your voice at demandmoresupply.com. Demandmoresupply.com. That's demandmoresupply.com.
Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson. Maria Shilaos has the day off. Funeral services for President Jeffrey R. Holland of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have now been announced. The service taking place this Wednesday at 11 a.m. at the Tabernacle on Temple Square. President Holland most recently served as the president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. He passed away over the weekend from complications due to kidney disease. He was 85 years old. Remembering President Holland, we have special coverage on Midday. We begin with a look back at the Apostles' life from KSL News Radio's Dan Baumis.
As a speaker, President Jeffrey R. Holland was known for his wit, but also for reaching out in his general conference addresses to those who need encouragement.
So keep loving, keep trying, keep trusting, keep believing, keep growing. Heaven is cheering you on.
Jeffrey R. Holland was born December 3, 1940, in St. George, Utah, to Frank D. and Alice Bentley Holland. He served as a missionary in what was then called the British Mission. One of his companions was Quentin L. Cook, who would go on to serve with him in the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. President Holland graduated from Dixie College and received bachelor's and master's degrees from Brigham Young University. Later, he received both a master's degree and a Ph.D. from Yale University in American Studies. President Holland married Patricia Terry in the St. George Temple in 1963. On many church assignments, they would speak together, as they did in 1985 when they talked about marriage to students at Brigham Young University.
When I first dated Jeff, I couldn't stand him. And I just throw that in as reassurance to you women out there who are dating men you can't stand.
I throw it in as reassurance to the men who can't be stood.
In 1974, he was appointed Dean of Religious Education at BYU and spoke to students on campus as he took that position.
Let me say to you with all of the intensity that I have, that nothing will hurt you more than what you don't know. Plato said about as early as anybody started saying things outside of the Israelites, Plato said, "It is better to be unborn than untaught, for ignorance is at the root of all misfortune."
President Holland also served as commissioner of the church education system before he became president of Brigham Young University in 1980. His accomplishments there included founding the BYU Jerusalem Center, where he once addressed a group of Jewish, Latter-day Saint, and political leaders. They were commemorating the 175th anniversary of the prayer offered by early apostle Orson Hyde on the Mount of Olives, dedicating that land for the return of the Jews. The late Senator Joe Lieberman shared his thoughts on that teaching with the Church News World Report.
The language in the Book of Mormon from the Bible, but building on it, that this is where the Jews must return, it was really striking. I said to Elder Holland afterward, I'm going to go back. I presume through Amazon I can get a copy of the Book of Mormon. He said, don't do that, I'll send you one.
The Hollands raised a daughter, Mary Alice, and two sons, Matthew S. and David F. Holland. Elder Matthew Holland was called to serve as a general authority of the church after 9 years as president of Utah Valley University. David F. Holland is a professor at Harvard Divinity School. In July of 2023, Sister Patricia Holland passed away, leaving President Holland mourning his beloved companion of 60 years.
She was the greatest woman I have ever known. A perfect wife and mother, to say nothing of her purity, her gift of expression, her spirituality.
Just a few days later, President Holland fell ill himself and spent weeks in the hospital. In a general conference address in April 2024, he reflected on what he felt was a spiritual witness that he was to return to his ministry, if only for a short time.
Against that backdrop of Christ's victory over death and his recent gift to me of a few more weeks or months in mortality, I bear solemn witness of the reality of eternal life and the need for us to be serious in our planning for it.
Millions of Latter-day Saints and many others loved President Jeffrey R. Holland for his way of seeing and speaking the truths of the gospel in a way that touched their hearts. Dan Bonas, KSL News Radio.
One of the things that really shaped President Holland into who he was were his southern Utah roots. Editor of the Deseret News, Sarah Jane Weaver, explained how that background shaped his views on this morning's Inside Sources.
Part of his story is his southern Utah roots. You know, he talks about growing up with red sand in his shoes and being from this place where it was different when he was a kid, right? The wind blew, the Virgin River flooded every year. No one could grow crops. This was a hard life, and his ancestors settled that area. And President Holland was the son of a man who had a 7th grade education. Yet he rose from that, attended Harvard University. His wife studied at Juilliard and became something so much greater. They're the epitome of the American story, and also the result of the grit and tenacity of those southern Utah roots.
With his passing, President Holland leaves behind a legacy of faith and perseverance.
He has been such an iconic leader, and I, in that talk and so many other messages, he spoke so much about faith and about challenges and about defining processes. One of my favorite things that he said was in an interview that I did with him in 2023. And he says, on days when we feel we have been pushed to our limit, we are reminded that we won't be pushed beyond our faith. We won't discover just how much strength we do have until it is tested, refined, and tested again. And I think that is his legacy to everyone who knew him, to a global church, and to so many government, civic, other leaders, religious leaders that he interacted with. It was one of enduring and moving forward and being tested and knowing that faith transcends challenges.
Editor of the Deseret News, Sarah Jane Weaver there. Among the things President Holland was well known for was his ability to speak, to share messages of joy and hope. In 1999, he spoke of good things to come in a talk that became a widely shared message online.
Every one of us has times when we need to know things will get better. My declaration is that is precisely what the gospel of Jesus Christ offers us, especially in times of need. There is help. There is happiness. There really is light at the end of the tunnel. Hold on. Keep trying. God loves you. Things will improve. Christ comes to you in his more excellent ministry with a future of better promises. Don't you quit. You keep walking. You keep trying. There is help and happiness ahead, a lot of it. You keep your chin up. It will be all right in the end. Trust God and believe in good things to come.
President Jeffrey R. Holland's funeral services will be this Wednesday, December 31st at 11 a.m. at the Tabernacle at Temple Square in downtown Salt Lake City. It'll be open to the public ages 8 and older. Admission will be on a space available basis, and overflow seating will be made available as needed. If you're unable to attend in person, we will carry the funeral service live on air and online at kslnewsradio.com. Again, that's President Holland's funeral service this Wednesday at 11 a.m. After the break, let's talk finances. Ugh, right? It's not all bad, though, I promise. We'll chat about New Year's resolutions for your finances and how your taxes could change next year, too. But first, it's KSL Emergency Traffic, sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Michelle?
This is due to police activity northbound on Bangerter Highway 4100 South. They've just now looks like they've finally opened up that traffic, but all lanes have been blocked. You're still looking at some pretty big delays backing up to almost 4700 South. I-15 running at posted speed, still working on that crash, and 90th South off to the right shoulder. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with Human Kindness is here. Hello, Human Kindness. I'm Michelle Rowan, the KSL Traffic Center.
I was in foot pain for 20 years, trying to give it relief, buying all these different insoles. Drugstore insoles, custom insoles. I spent thousands of dollars. I bought all these products, and not a single one worked. I really, truly needed to have relief in my feet, and the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed.
For over 20 years, we've been helping people like Teresa actually live the life they love without their feet getting in the way.
They wanted to make sure that I got something that my feet felt good in, not somebody else's feet. I love the fact that I can wear these arch supports in all my shoes. I have boots, I have cowboy boots, I have running shoes, I have walking shoes, I have flat shoes, I have heels. It makes me so happy. If you ask my husband, he will crack up because there is no store I would rather go in than a shoe store. I'm Teresa, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago politician Dick Durbin. Now, Durbin has a new scheme. He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate megastores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits, and liberal Dick Durbin would help them do it. Tell senators, say no to the megastores and Dick Durbin. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
This holiday season, step back in time to an era of true elegance. Titanic. The exhibition is now open at the Shops at Southtown in Sandy. Walk the grand staircase. See the artifacts. Feel the stories. It's the perfect outing for the family or a thoughtful gift for someone special. Now open through April 2026. Purchase tickets and ticket gift vouchers today at titanicexhibition.com. Titanic, the exhibition. Don't miss the boat.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson. Well, it's that time of year when you may be thinking up your New Year's resolution. Wallet Hub says more than 1 in 4 Americans are looking to make financial goals. I talked to Chip Lupo, a writer and analyst for Wallet Hub, about some of the top resolutions they recommend.
31% of them are going to make the emphasis on saving more. Now, there's some factors at play here because half of Americans say that inflation is the biggest financial concern for 2026. So when you're making your financial New Year's resolutions, external factors like inflation and unemployment rates kind of tend to throw a monkey wrench into that. So it kind of makes your New Year's resolution planning a little bit more difficult. On the flip side, though, we found that 60% of people say that 2026 will be better for their wallet than 2025. That I found particularly interesting. Now, that basically all depends on your perspective. If you were shopping for gas or groceries, depending on what state you're in, you're probably finding things that are probably a little bit more affordable. Now, on the flip side, if you're in the market for a new home or a new vehicle, you're probably going to find out just, this is not going to be good for our wallet in 2026.
So what are some of the most common or helpful financial resolutions that people are coming out with in response to that?
Well, what we recommend is making a realistic budget and sticking to it. Too many people, when they make their New Year's resolutions, for whatever the purpose, they keep it vague. It's just like, I want to save more. Set a target number. Say, I want to save an extra $100 a month, something like that, but something realistic. You don't want to say, I want to save $5,000 by the end of the month, because that's in most cases an unrealistic number. And when you don't reach it, you're discouraged to even want to go into the next month. So create a realistic budget, stick to it, and adjust it where needed. A lot of people have budgets that are still based on pre-COVID spending. That's unrealistic. So you do have to adjust your budget based on income and, of course, based on how much your expenses are, which in a lot of cases are going up in a lot of areas. Obviously, you want to save more money, and your budget will help you do that. You can take a look at your budget. You can eliminate or cut out any unnecessary expenses, maybe that daily trip to Starbucks, or maybe there's a recurring expense like a subscription, a streaming service that you no longer use or want. Weed out all of the unnecessary expenses, separate the needs from the wants, and you'll be surprised how much you'll end up saving every month.
Yeah, I bet. So how does someone decide whatever financial goal they should go for first, or what's the best first steps?
Well, the best first step is to review all of your accounts, particularly if you find yourself in debt. Take a look at all of your statements and take a look at which ones have the highest interest rates, and work on paying those off first, because interest is the enemy of savings. Because interest will eat up a huge portions of your balance, and you end up paying, in a lot of cases, let's just say that sweater you bought on Black Friday on a credit card, paying 26% interest, and you're still paying off on June. You're paying more for that sweater in interest than probably the actual purchase price. So review all of your statements, compare interest rates. You want to eliminate the debts with the highest interest rates first.
Okay. And you kind of touched on this a little bit before, but can you talk about a little bit how things might be different and how you'd set goals from last year to this year?
Yeah, now again, this is why it's important to have a budget, because your budget is like your blueprint, and then you can compare spending from a year ago, see how much your homeowner's insurance went up or how much your taxes went up. Don't just throw away the previous year's budget and then start anew. Always keep them and for comparison purposes. And the more you're able to compare, you can kind of project how much things are going to be even the following year. So you kind of get a head start on your next budgeting year. So always compare costs from month to month or year to year. Kind of get like a baseline so you kind of know, you can kind of anticipate if you see a pattern where something's going up every year. You can kind of anticipate how much is going to go up in the following year.
That was Wallet Hub writer and analyst Chip Lupo. Now, before you get into your 2026 resolutions, you still have a few days left in the current year, and that means it's time to make sure you're good to go for the upcoming tax season. ABC's Michelle Franzen has a few end-of-year tax tips to make sure you don't see any unnecessary headaches next year.
Usually, the Internal Revenue Service reminds taxpayers around this time of year to start thinking about getting tax return documents together. IRS spokesperson Robin Capehart says that includes W-2s and statements.
Most income is taxable, including unemployment compensation, refund interest, and income from the gig economy and digital assets.
But this year, there's a big change that'll affect next year's returns. Capehart says as of September 2025, the IRS phased out paper tax refund checks. checks.
The IRS will request banking information on all tax returns to issue refunds via direct deposit or electronic funds transfer. And there is help for those without access to bank accounts. So options such as prepaid debit cards, digital wallets, or limited exceptions will be available.
Why the change? Capehart says security, so checks can't get lost or stolen, and it'll speed up refunds.
As we move into the new year, there are several, more than 100 in fact, tax law changes you should know about.
112 tax law changes. That's the number included in President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which will affect filing early next year. IRS spokesperson Stacey Ingalls says taxpayers who collect overtime, tips, or took out a car loan will need to start gathering records because the W-2 form hasn't been updated yet. Ingalls says eligible workers can deduct up to $25,000 of qualified tips from their income.
They will be able to estimate based on an educated calculation using information from their employer and documents they keep.
Ingalls says it's a similar situation for the new no tax on overtime.
The employees will need to do a reasonable effort to determine what part of their wages is overtime.
And some new car buyers who took out a loan in 2025 can deduct the interest, so make sure to hang on to those records.
One thing to make sure you have checked is your tax withholding. With the new year, maybe you need to change your withholding.
If you're making money, you're supposed to pay taxes. And while some people choose to have the Internal Revenue Service withhold more than needed to ensure a tax refund, others don't want to hand over any more money than necessary. How do you know what's the right amount? IRS spokesperson Stacey Ingalls says there's a website for that.
The IRS suggests that taxpayers regularly go to irs.gov and take advantage of IRS withholding estimator.
Ingalls says there are a lot of factors that could change withholding during the year,
such as a marriage or a divorce, a birth or a death, or if you have a part-time job or get into the gig economy.
And a year-end reminder for 73-year-olds with retirement accounts.
You are required to take a required minimum distribution or a required withdrawal from your pension accounts.
That's to avoid the 25% penalty of the required withdrawal.
With Christmas out of the way, you might be thinking it's time to make a charitable donation. If you do, you have to make sure you're donating to the right kind of organizations if you want some tax benefits, that is.
There are plenty of reasons to consider donating to a charity, but with the end of the year fast approaching, remember,
one of the main things that would be the most impactful to a tax return for ending 2025 would be to make a charitable contribution.
Internal Revenue Service spokesperson Stacey Ingalls says just make sure it's a qualified organization. A list can be found on irs.gov under the tax-exempt organization search. Maximizing charitable donations before the year is up not only helps the nonprofits, but it can also help Americans lower their taxable income and limit the risk of paying higher taxes next year.
You can normally deduct up to 60% of your adjusted gross income through a charitable contribution, which has a large impact on the amount of money that you would actually be able to deduct and pay tax on.
And finally, health care. With a new year also comes the end to most people's health plans.
When's the last time you went to the doctor or refilled a prescription? Now may be the time to squeeze those things in between the turkey and the champagne so you can use up any money remaining on flex spending accounts.
If that account is not used by the end of the year, that money does not get carried over to the next calendar year.
Internal Revenue Service spokesperson Stacey Ingalls.
That is tax-free money that is set aside for qualified medical expenses such as prescriptions, procedures, etc.
And Ingalls says if there's too much money left over, now could be the time to fix that.
During open season for insurance, generally you can make elections for the next year. So based on this calendar year, you may be able to make a better assessment of what you would need to put into your flexible savings account for the next filing season.
ABC's Michelle Franzen sharing several end-of-year tax tips. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. Hello, I'm Heather Peterson. Maria Shilaos is off today. Some of the stories we're watching this hour, new developments in the case of the man charged with killing political influencer Charlie Kirk, and it affects what you, the public, will be able to see. And a look back at the biggest news of the year in the world of faith. We'll get more from KSL's Carol Makita. And KSL traffic. Michelle?
Looking at delays for drivers on the South Belt as you're going past the South Interchange.
36 and sunny in Salt Lake City, and we should have a clear week for the most part until we get to New Year's Day, where we could see some rain in the forecast, about 48 degrees that day. KSL Top Local Stories in 1 minute. It's 2:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. After meeting at Mar-a-Lago today, President Trump says he and Israel's prime minister are on the same page when it comes to the next phase of the Gaza peace plan. The president says that includes Hamas fully disarming.
If they don't disarm, as they agreed to do, they agreed to it, and then they'll be held to pay for them.
It follows the president's meeting yesterday with Ukraine's President Zelensky at Mar-a-Lago on a ceasefire deal with Russia. Today, Russia accused Ukraine of trying to carry out a drone strike on Vladimir Putin's state residence, something Zelensky denies. Today is one of the busiest travel days of the holiday travel period across the country. Severe storms on the march, too. Snow, rain, and ice in the Midwest and New England. Nearly 800 flights have been canceled just today. The backlog, along with another round of storms, could impact travel all this week. On Wall Street, stocks ending lower today. Investors back for a abbreviated trading week due to the holidays. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story, new year, new alcohol laws in Utah. A new bill goes into effect on January 1st, and it says that if a court orders it, those convicted of an extreme DUI will no longer be able to legally make purchases at Utah liquor stores. No alcohol sale will get printed on the ID, and stores that sell alcohol must look for and abide by the ruling. The bill also requires every person to present an acceptable form of ID when purchasing alcohol or entering a bar, regardless of their age appearance. A man was arrested after police say video showed him hurting his child in a hospital. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The man, identified as Jesse Scott Rogers, took his child to Primary Children's for seizure monitoring. He is 4 years old and has autism. Video footage from the room shows him trying to strangle the boy and hurting him multiple times throughout their overnight stay. Hospital staff quickly called the police after seeing the footage, who then got a search warrant to legally watch it back. Rogers was then taken into police custody and booked into the Utah County Jail. If convicted, he could face felony charges. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Representative Carol Spackman Moss announced her retirement and is looking back on her time as the longest-serving woman legislator in Utah. KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez reports.
Moss says the naloxone bill and the Good Samaritan law she passed in 2014 are a couple of the highlights of her time in public service. These laws give access to the life-saving overdose reversal Narcan and provide limited criminal immunity to people who call for medical assistance at the scene of an overdose victim. Moss was also an English teacher for 33 years at Olympus High School. She credits the time spent with her students as the most shaping for her service in the legislature.
Moss says her decision is bittersweet, but overall it's taught her how to communicate well and build relationships. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 249 points, the S&P is down 24, and the NASDAQ is down 118. Traffic and weather together, sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Things are looking better, Heather, where we did have those big delays northbound on Bangerter Highway approaching 4100 South. That was due to police activity. That is now eased, so we're going to be able to drop the emergency traffic. But we do have some slowdowns for drivers making their way westbound at the South Belt at I-15. That is, again, on I-215's South Belt as you're making your way westbound. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today we're looking at a high of 38 with clear, sunny skies. Tomorrow, more of the same as we climb to a high of 43, then 47 Wednesday, Thursday, and we could see a chance of rain for your New Year's Day. Right now, it's 36 and sunny from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Febreze. It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Hi, I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, America's largest family law firm. During this time of year, difficult relationships sometimes become impossible. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. Take the first step. Visit CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Heather Peterson, in for Maria Shilaos. A key ruling today in the case against the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk. A judge today opening up previously sealed court records against accused killer Tyler Robinson. The judge laying out in detail how much the public will get to see and hear as this case moves forward. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera has more on what the judge actually said and what it means for the future of the case.
So both the defense and prosecutors argued that releasing certain details, especially around security, could pose safety concerns or impact Robinson's right to a fair trial. Media organizations, including KSL and the Deseret News, pushed back, saying the public has a right to understand what's happening in a case that's drawn national attention. So today, the judge walked through how he weighed those competing interests.
And where did he land on that balance?
So he said openness matters, but it does have limits. The judge ruled that only a very small portion of the transcript needs to stay redacted, mostly for security reasons. Everything else will be released so the public can see what was discussed, and he explained that decision directly from the bench.
Openness and transparency are foundational to our judicial system and essential to maintaining public confidence. At the same time, the public's right to access is qualified, not absolute, and may be limited when a legally sufficient justification exists. The court recognizes the substantial public interest in these proceedings and has approached its review with that interest firmly in mind. The carefully limited redactions ordered are narrowly tailored and designed to protect those interests while preserving the public's ability to understand the substance, context, and significance of the proceedings.
So how much is actually being hidden from the public here? Is it enough for folks to even really worry about?
Not much at all. So the judge says about 246 words, which is about 1 page out of an 80-page transcript, will be redacted, and then everything else will be released. He also noted that much of what's discussed is already referenced in charging documents or has been discussed publicly by law enforcement.
Okay, so when will people actually be able to see and hear this?
So the redacted transcript is expected to be filed by the end of today. The audio recording will take a bit longer because the court wants to be sure nothing protected is accidentally released. The judge says that should be ready in about 2 weeks. He also emphasized that hearing the audio matters, not just reading the transcript, because tone and context are important.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's next in this case?
So the next hearing is set for January 16th. That's when the case itself moves forward again, and thanks to today's ruling, it'll be happening with a lot more public visibility.
KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera there. Let's go more in depth on the relationship between the court system and the media and why today's order matters for public transparency. I asked KSL legal analyst and co-host of Inside Sources, Greg Skordas, why this order is important.
So what happened was this. There was some concern, and let me back up a little bit, although I think Eric did a very good job. There was some concern about whether or not Tyler Robinson could be able to appear in court without shackles, wearing street clothes, and in person. At some of his court appearances, he's just been in jail. The state raised some security concerns, and so the judge had a closed hearing to talk about those security concerns. And because they are security concerns, some of those are private. What the sheriff's office does in terms of public safety and transportation and whatnot should be kept private. The media, of course, said we have a right to know. The public has a right to know what's going on in these things, and the lawyers from both sides, the defense and the prosecution, both argued the same, which was no, this jeopardizes his right to a fair trial. So the judge went through the entire hearing and redacted some portions that he felt were just so sensitive and so secretive that they shouldn't be disclosed to the public, but otherwise allowed like 90%, 95% of the hearing to be disclosed. So that's what's happening.
What are Utah's laws regarding media access in the courts?
You know, you kind of go back to the First Amendment. You know, our laws really allow such things as cameras in the courtroom. Courts are almost always presumed to be open to the public. Adult courts are, juvenile courts are confidential generally. But we like to have that. But sometimes when there's a public safety concern, or sometimes when there's information that shouldn't be out to the general public, like how he's going to be transported, where he'll be transported, especially a case for like this where Tyler Robinson's life may be in jeopardy. And I think the sheriff's office has every reason to think they don't want everybody to know when he's being transported and how that's going to happen. They just don't want that in this particular case. So, you know, the public has a right to know what's going on at trial, but that doesn't include public safety information. It doesn't include things that could jeopardize public safety for law enforcement and for sheriff's office and for other individuals who might be transporting him.
Okay. It feels like we're talking about this case and the media's access more than in other cases. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, that's a great question. And the reason why we're talking about this is because this case has a lot more media access than almost any other case we have right now in Utah. I mean, this case has gained not only a lot of attention here in the state, but nationally and internationally. And every time he has a court hearing, unlike 99% of our other court cases, everybody watches. It's live streamed. It's televised. And so the public wants to know. I mean, his hearing today was live streamed on several television stations. We don't have that happening in Utah, very rarely. So in the case like this, it's just getting this kind of attention because the case has so much national attention.
And do you think that the judge is going to continue to allow cameras in the courtroom?
Yeah, I think he will after today. I think he's going to allow Tyler to appear, and I don't think that there will be any other hearings like they had in October that were kept away from the public. I think that whatever secretive information there was about transporting and housing him has been dealt with, and the judge will probably allow pretty much open courtroom from now on.
Okay. And as a defense attorney, what's your thoughts on how this impacts Tyler Robinson's case?
Well, you're always concerned, and even as a prosecutor, and I was a prosecutor also, you're always concerned about making sure that an individual who's accused of a crime has the right to a fair trial. And that means that the jury, the people who ultimately hear the case and decide whether he's guilty or innocent, are not influenced by the media. You want a jury to be able to sit down and listen to the evidence and decide the case based on what they hear at court, not what they heard on TV. So as a defense attorney, you're always concerned that the jury will know more about the case than you want them to because they heard things or saw things on TV that may or may not be true. So you just want to make sure that the trial is preserved, that the information available to the jury is appropriate, that it's followed by the rules and not necessarily what people may have seen or believe they heard on television or in the media.
KSL legal analyst Greg Skortis there. Midday continues in just 30 seconds.
A 15-year-old girl who chewed through a rope to escape a serial killer.
I used my front teeth to saw on the rope in my mouth.
The killer prowled the Pacific Northwest in the early 70s. He's been convicted of murdering 2 young women, but suspected of many more.
Maybe there's another one in that area.
Follow and binge all episodes of Stolen Voices of Dole Valley, available now wherever you listen.
Investigators now revealing more details on the supposed motivations of the man alleged to have been planting pipe bombs at the Democratic and Republican national headquarters in 2021, just before the January 6th riots. According to court filings, Brian Cole told investigators he wasn't targeting congressional lawmakers who were certifying Joe Biden's election victory, but said he was upset with both political parties. ABC senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas has more.
Judge Pirro acknowledged that the suspect has been talking to investigators, providing some critical and what appears to be incriminating information. And she told us the exact moment when she was confident the FBI was on the right track in the investigation. And was there a moment when you said, okay, this is a bit of evidence that I'm very interested in pursuing, and we know we're onto the right person? What was that moment where you were pretty confident the investigators were, to your mind, on the right path?
In my mind, they were on the right path when it was clear that the cell phone was pinging in the exact locations where we had the video of the suspect walking along the area. Everywhere he walked, his cell phone was pinging at the cell tower. So it is unmistakable that he was the guy who was walking along and placing those items.
You did the search warrant yesterday, the arrest. Have you found the sneakers? Have you found any items that match what we saw in the video?
So you know about those Air Max Speed Turfs. He told us that he had those sneakers and that he got rid of them after he placed the pipe bombs.
Yeah, it's fascinating, Pierre. And, you know, the other thing that stood out to me about this case is that Cole's alleged belief in there being some fraud in the 2020 election. I want to play a part from your exchange on that subject matter.
And Judge, one of the other key items of reporting we've been doing today is that he had expressed concern about fraud in the 2020 election. Is that accurate?
Well, he was disappointed in various aspects of the election, but this guy was an equal opportunity bomber. He put a bomb outside the Republican National Committee and the Democrat National Committee. He was disappointed to a great deal in the system, both sides of the system. And for me as a prosecutor, my job is to prove what his intent was in placing those pipe bombs and what he intended to do and what we can prove. And we can prove that.
And so we just heard the U.S. Attorney say that he was an equal opportunity bomber. But how does the government plan to prove intent and pursue a conviction here?
Well, obviously, there's mountains of evidence that they retrieved from his home and various other locations where they're doing search warrants. And I also think now that the process is underway, he will soon have an attorney. Will he continue to talk to law enforcement officials, as we've been reporting? That'll be key because, you know, you have the potential for a plea, but a new attorney might come in and say, look, you've been talking too much, or deny some of the claims that the government is maybe making at some point. There's a lot to be determined in terms of how this case is going to play out. And again, Mr. Cole is innocent until proven guilty.
Cole is set to appear in court tomorrow afternoon for his detention hearing. The longest-serving woman in the state legislature is stepping down. We'll hear from her as she looks back at more than 25 years of service coming up next. But first, it's KSL Emergency Traffic, sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Michelle?
If you're anywhere near the South Interchange, you'll want to pay close attention. All westbound lanes on the South Belt, just west of the South Interchange, are closed, as well as the ramp to exit northbound I-15 to go westbound on the South Belt. That is due to a serious auto accident where we do have a semi overturned. Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Often, we see people we don't know, sleeping on the sidewalk or maybe asking for money. You may think to yourself, wonder how this person ended up in that situation. The rescue mission of Salt Lake changes people's lives and helps them become the person they were truly meant to be. They just need a little help to get back on track. The rescue mission relies 100% on public support and receives no government funding. Those small donations can add up to transform someone's life. In as little as 12 months, a person can move from homelessness to stability, gain an education and life skills mentoring, to employment, housing, and self-sufficiency. Additionally, the rescue mission provides daily meals and offers an emergency shelter every night, plus hygiene, clothing, and a warming center, all to help those on the street get off the street and change their life. Visit Rescue Mission of Salt Lake now. That's rescuesaltlake.org, because a little donation goes a long way.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Held over due to popular demand. This is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Utah is one of the best places to live, work, and raise a family. But for many Utahns, the dream of owning a home is slipping away. Home prices have risen faster than incomes, and families are spending nearly 2/3 of what they earn just to keep a roof overhead. From young graduates to grandparents, everyone is feeling the squeeze. Utah needs more homes, the right kinds of homes, so families can stay close and our communities can thrive. That's why Utah Workforce Housing Advocacy created Demand More Supply, a statewide effort helping Utahns understand the issue and take action in their own communities. Because when we work together, we can make housing affordable again for today's families and for future generations. Let's make the dream of owning a home a reality again. Learn more and add your voice at demandmoresupply.com. Demandmoresupply.com. That's demandmoresupply.com.
This is Midday. I'm Heather Peterson. As we end the year and reflect back on some of the biggest stories of 2025, one place to look has been the world of religion, a part of society that saw several worldwide level changes. KSL5 TV's religion and arts reporter, senior reporter Carol Makita takes a look back on how the world of faith developed in 2025.
This year brought the passing of two world religious leaders as ministries began for new leaders of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the Catholic Church. Pope Francis passed away on April 21st, Easter Sunday. He had served as the first Latin American leader of the world's 1.2 billion Catholics for 12 years. On May 8th, the new Pope, Leo XIV, was selected by his fellow cardinals in a conclave.
Con el dialogo, con el incontro.
It was a first. They chose Cardinal Robert Prevost from the United States. He was born in Chicago.
It tells us about the universality of God's love. You know, God chooses a leader for the Catholic Church, not only to serve the Catholics, but to serve the entire world.
In June, Ethiopian Christians celebrated the opening of their new place of worship in North Salt Lake. Two warehouses, previously owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, have been transformed for St. Mary's Ethiopian Orthodox Church. A new Hindu temple opened in Salt Lake County in September. Latter-day Saint church leaders attended the grand opening as it had originally been one of their meeting houses. President Russell M. Nelson celebrated his 101st birthday September 9th. He wrote an op-ed piece for Time.com titled, "We All Deserve Dignity and Respect." He died on September 28th, surrounded by family. Since called as a prophet in 2018 at the age of 93, President Nelson visited 32 countries and territories, announced 200 new temples, and made many policy changes in the faith. On October 14th, President Dallin H. Oaks was ordained the 18th Latter-day Saint Church president.
I accept with humility the responsibility that God has placed upon me and commit my whole heart and soul to the service to which I've been called.
He called President Henry B. Eyring as first counselor and President D. Todd Christofferson as second counselor. On November 6th, President Oaks called presiding Bishop Gerold Cosset as the newest apostle.
The gospel message is the same all over the world.
Everybody is a son and daughter of God.
In November, the new First Presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints made two big changes. There will no longer be a Saturday evening session of General Conference, and the age requirement for Latter-day Saint young women who wish to serve missions was lowered from 19 to 18 years old in November.
There is a great work to do in the cause of Christ, and these young women bring to the table a strength of character and testimony and witness.
There are now 85,000 Latter-day Saint missionaries. About 30% are women.
KSL TV's Carol Makita reporting. The longest-serving woman legislator in the state of Utah, now reflecting on the 26 years of service she's given to the state. In her retirement announcement, State Representative Carol Spackman-Moss says she was honored to serve House District 34, focusing on the importance of public education. If you didn't know, she taught English for 33 years at Olympus High School and credits that experience for shaping her time in public service.
I taught maybe 5,000 to 6,000 students in those years, and many of them still live in Holiday, and they're my neighbors, and I see them at the store, and I see their kids growing up. I see them being great citizens, and the new mayor of Holiday was a student, and I could name the president of the University of Utah. And, you know, I've seen them become leaders in their communities and just being great citizens. And so that's been a real bonus because I live in the area where I taught.
Out of everything she's done in the legislature over more than 2 decades, she tells KSL News Radio's McKenna Rodriguez that her favorite pieces of legislation dealt with saving lives.
There's nothing more rewarding than knowing that you can do that policies that I've passed and laws that have done that. So I passed the first naloxone rescue bill, and as you know, naloxone is the overdose, is the drug that reverses an overdose, or it's sometimes called Narcan. And when I passed that first bill in 2014, it gave a little more access, but not enough to people, because a prescription to someone, a doctor could only prescribe to a patient. Well, the patient can't save his own life. So that's where I started. And it came to me from families, a couple of them whose kids had been my former students, and their friends had just abandoned them. It was just the beginning of the huge surge in overdose deaths due to OxyContin and oxycodone. And so I passed the Good Samaritan law, and that meant you could call and ask for help, and you wouldn't be arrested for use or possession as long as you stayed with the person and told the police or the paramedics what they were using.
Representative Moss will finish her current term before stepping down. She says she's not stepping away from Utah or its people, but says right now is the right time to pass the torch. As we move into 2026, what should you expect to see on the AI front? ABC's Mike Dubusky has some insights in today's Tech Trends.
Artificial intelligence companies say their technology will continue to get smarter in 2026.
But there won't be any huge breakthroughs that make us go, oh my God, we're in a whole new world. Like, we are now just going to see, incremental and maybe significantly incremental increases.
Tech columnist Clive Thompson says the industry is still facing major questions over AI's ability to be accurate, the potential for it to replace jobs, and
all these AI companies are building these huge farms for doing AI that require mammoth amounts of electricity. At the same time as electricity costs have gone up.
It comes as talk of an AI bubble continues, amid fears that rising tech company valuations could be overinflating the value of the stock market.
All that rocketing upwards is really just these small number of companies. So this makes investors nervous because they wonder, well, how sustainable is what these companies are doing?
With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Jeff Kaplan's here in studio with me. Jeff, what do you think is going to happen with AI in 2026?
I think that AI is going to march on and nobody's going to be able to stop it, but the midterm elections might make them think hard about all these data centers. The data centers that make electricity expensive. I have no idea what's going to happen.
We'll have to wait and see. Thanks for joining us on Midday. Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News coming up next.
KSL FM Midvale. KSL Salt Lake City.